sound better?
Yes, a little bit.
It's still very quiet, but I think it's loud enough that people will be
Yeah.
able to hear it.
Okay, then. So we are now live to the. We'll be talking about the BS of third parties. Just in general, but I mean, we can use the Wii U as a perfect example. But the third parties have been screwing over everybody on all consoles for years now. So
Yeah.
it's not just one. It's not just one group getting shat on. So, who wants to start?
Hey man, first of all, this Terminator Juice, I don't have my camera on, so I don't know if people know my icon with the game boxes. That's me. So just wanted to say what's up to everybody, and my body is ready. I'm ready to let the third parties have it with this. I got a list of things that I wrote down that I hope we can talk about. So.
Okay.
This is Dark1008. I'm just gonna do my take on what this whole third-party BS is going on. So.
Okay.
I'm Francis over here from PlayerEssence.com, and I'm just here to sit back and hear what they have to say, to be honest. I'm going to be an observer. I might say something here and there, but for the sake of me actually getting into E3 next year.
Yeah, don't want to burn any bridges. Don't want to burn any bridges. Well, I'll guess I'll jump in first because I was thinking about this a few days ago because I made a video saying be elite. Because look, I've been hearing a lot of younger gamers bragging about, well, this game is so large, there's no way that it could have been fixed. I'm like, listen, okay. Here's the flaw with your argument, okay? There are games that are huge from the 6th and 5th generation, like relatively speaking, have lots of stuff going on that are less bug-filled, or at least the bugs aren't game-breaking, than stuff that's coming out now. Now, my theory about gaming is that every generation, as the technology improves, your stuff should be getting better. It's like vehicles. Cars from 50 years ago aren't as good as cars from 30 years ago, which aren't as good as cars from 10 years ago, which aren't as good as cars now. And yet, video games, we have games coming out now that are less complete, more broken and busted up from a game from over 20 years ago. Case in point, SimCity 4 was a disaster. And yet, I have SimCity on my SNES, and that game plays very well. I mean, sure, the user interface is a little archaic, but, I mean, I never had it crash on me,
Yeah, it seems like it's almost like the bigger the budget, the bigger the project. It's almost working against the quality of the games, As back in the day, they didn't have as much processing power, and they had smaller development teams, smaller budgets, but they seem to always, or more often, put out a finished quality game, and it was because they couldn't patch it later. They really had to, otherwise, if word got out that their game was broken in a cartridge, then I mean that's what happened to E.T. back a long time ago. I think you brought that up. They just had to throw them away. They just had to throw them in a landfill because there's nothing that could be done. And
they had to hide the fact that their sins in a garbage dump.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this as someone who played that game. Like when I was in elementary school, I used to do aftercare, and one of our teachers who watched us had an Atari 2600 with E.T. and I played that game, beat it too. And I'll tell you, it's a piece of garbage.
Wait a minute. That game actually has like an ending and everything.
Yeah. It actually had an ending. I mean, like,
I just thought it was a shitty game that you just played.
That tells you how much of a dedicated gamer I am. Even a bad game like E.T., I would come back day after day, hour after hour, coming back playing that game to beat it. I mean,
how many pitfalls did you find in that? Fall down in those holes?
Well, basically, I played it so much that I began to get a feel for where to go, what to do, and everything like that. Because this was before GameFAQs. This is before you just go on the internet and someone would tell you, go here, turn here. I had to just do it all in my head.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Like trial and error.
Yeah, trial and error and memorizing where stuff went. But, I mean, you know, they hid their sins. Atari hid their sins. But, I mean, we're seeing games coming out now that are just literally just garbage, just absolute garbage, and people accept it. They accept the garbage. Like I got Skyrim for the PS3, which should tell you something. I got it for $40. It was on sale, and I remember playing that game, and there would be parts of the game where when I'd be playing the game where I'd be like, I'm dreading going into this building because the game might crash. It was, and you knew it had crashed because the little object that would be spinning in the background would just freeze, and you'd be like, "Oh God!"
Did they ever fix that to make it work?
It works.
I think they made a statement that they wouldn't fix it, but I don't know. I don't have the PS3 version.
It works like 60 to 70% of the time, but there's still a very high failure rate.
They patched it up a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still not as good as the Xbox 360 version, but that engine is just crap on the PS. It just doesn't run as well on the PS3. I mean, Fallout 3 was the same issue. With the PS3 version of Fallout 3 was broken as hell too.
Even the original Bioshock.
I mean, yeah, the Xbox 360 version of Fallout 3 was also kind of broken. It crashed on me multiple times, but it wasn't as bad as the PS3 version. But Fallout 3 is freaking awesome. So it was kind of one of those things. I mean, at the time playing it, it was just like, I don't care. It's gonna be broken. I'm still gonna play it.
Well, the thing that ruins it for me is that Bethesda not only makes broken games, they're arrogant.
Yeah.
Like, if you Double Helix, like they came out and Microsoft gave them a chance to work on a quality franchise, and it's not as bad as it could have been because their other games were garbage, and they're like, look, we know we were the guys who were making movie games that sucked. Okay, give us a chance. But Bethesda's like, yeah, they've got their ass in the air, their shoulders square, just all arrogant, and I'm like, your games come out broken and they aren't good for a year after they come out, like due to patching. And, I thought it was just the PS3 version, but no, apparently just across all their games, it takes at least a year after it came out for it to be good. And yet they're arrogant. I'm like,
and they're well respected too. That's the thing. They're well respected by the media.
What's Bethesda gonna do? I'm like, what are they gonna do with their broken games? I don't know.
Well, I am going to be. I think this is going to be interesting with this conversation because I am going to play a little bit of a devil's advocate, just to spice.
That's fine. Yeah, that's a good.
I will say this: Nintendo also, despite them not getting anything, from Bethesda, Nintendo also respects them. And to be particular, Monolith Soft says that they wanted X to be like, or they wanted to be like the Bethesda of the Japanese, I don't think the plugs, but maybe just like the breadth and like the huge open world and all the side quests. They want their games to be that addictive, and I bet they want their games to sell 10 million units, like Bethesda's games do. I mean, I don't think X is going to do that, but I think X is going to be a very huge seller for Nintendo. I think it's going to do a lot better. And I think that looking at some of the stuff that Bethesda's done, although their games are broken at times, I think looking at that, I think Monolith Soft has created even something better. I think Xenoblade Chronicles is just as good, if not as better than Bethesda's games. And now they finally have an HD system to work with. And looking at some of the problems that Bethesda's had, they've probably said, okay, we're going to avoid that, and we're going to do things our way and make a game that's not as broken and make a game that has the same type of content. So I think Bethesda's like good and bad. You know what I'm saying?
Like their ambitions and their ideas are good, but it's their execution.
The execution, yeah.
It inspires Monolith Soft though. So I mean, if you're inspiring Monolith Soft, I mean, these guys they've created some of the greatest games of all time. I mean, these are Xenogears. This is Final Fantasy guys. Some of these guys worked on Chrono Trigger, Secret of Mana. I mean, if you're getting inspiration from Bethesda, then that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was looking at a list of developers, and Nintendo basically, for people who say why can't Square Enix make decent RPGs anymore, It's because all the people that made those RPGs we grew up loving, they're at Intelligent Systems, Monolith Soft, Mistwalker,
Yep.
Alpha Dream.
Yep. Yeah. Well, you're 100% right about that. All
They're
the people
gone.
that made it, yeah,
They're
they're
gone.
all in different companies, and they were all moved on. Even everybody who made Super Mario RPG, there's like nobody
Yeah.
from Square Enix that made. They're all with the people who made Dream Team or made Intel, and like they're
Yeah.
all scattered all over the place. So you're 100% right about that.
And that's pretty much why, basically, when Square Enix says we're making a new Final Fantasy, and like I imagine a subtitle underneath it. It's like, and this time we promise we won't f this one up. And I'm like, I just can't trust you. I just can't trust you guys anymore. I can't trust Square Enix anymore. I can't. I mean, I had to watch Final Fantasy 13 get 2 sequels. No. Yeah, Final Fantasy 13, 2 sequels. I can't deal with it anymore. I just can't. I can't deal with it.
Can I talk about that real quick? Final
Go
Fantasy,
ahead. Knock yourself.
Final Fantasy 13. Like, I don't see how they messed up Lightning Returns. Like, you have an engine that completely works. Maybe it's not the best engine. Completely works. You made some strides in 10.2, and then how do you go backwards?
It's quite easy. They can't make RPGs anymore. They don't have the skill to make Like, literally, if I was Square Enix, I would Capcom has we'll get to Capcom later on. Despite all of their f-ups, the dude who's in charge of their Monster Hunter team got a promotion. You should be promoting that guy because he's one of the few dudes who hasn't been effing up. I mean, he's been doing well. He's been knocking it out the park. You should give him a promotion. The person in charge of Final Fantasy needs to be kicked out. It's like, dude, you cannot make a Final Fantasy game. You need to go someplace else. The dudes in charge of Dragon Quest, you need to get like a small team of those people. Say, look, we really need to bring back our Final Fantasy. You guys are really good at making RPGs. We need you guys to make, like, I don't care if it's a handheld, a Final Fantasy game. Do something. But, I mean, this dude, they gave this dude 3 games, and he just basically ran the franchise into the ground. I mean, the first one was a linear game, which I've never, one of the joys of Final Fantasy is exploring and finding new towns and buying new equipment. Final Fantasy 13, you got none of that. You know?
Well, until disc 3 on the Xbox.
Yeah, until you're almost 3/4 through the game at that point. And then the second one is utterly forgettable, but it had really pretty graphics though. I mean,
I got a question real quick for you guys. I don't play RPGs, and I haven't played Final Fantasy since 3 on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
It's for me, from the outside looking in, it looks like they put more focus on the CG cutscenes, making those so cinematic and amazing that they don't put as much effort into the rest of the game, just from outside looking in.
They forgot that RPGs aren't about graphics, because RPGs have their roots in tabletop games. In tabletop games, it's all what's going on in the player's head. It has nothing to do with what you're seeing. It's what's going on in your head. So, I mean, I don't know why they think... Like, I remember the director, the same dude who's been working on Final Fantasy 13, saying, like, they were asking him what's going on, and he was like, well, we made her boobs bigger. I'm like, dude, that's your big innovation. That's your big innovation. I knew that game was doomed when he said that. And I was like, yeah, it's over. It's over. Not we made a better battle system. Not that we made.
You know the funny thing is that they did make a better battle system, but they completely stripped any teammates that you have. So you're fighting by yourself. But then they made a cool, interesting battle system. But then they messed things up by putting a time limit on you. That game, you're constantly stressed with the stupid time limit, and it completely breaks any type of, like, I couldn't stand that freaking time limit. If they took that time limit out, then I still wouldn't love the game, but I would like it more. But Lightning Returns, just, whoever the people who were making that game just need to stop. Like, they just need to, or just be like the programmers. Like, don't ever have the directors and the people that were higher up make another Final Fantasy game. I mean, I like them more.
I'm just saying, those dudes need to just stop letting them make Final, because they can't do it. I mean,
can't do it.
You know, Bravely Default is the best Final Fantasy game I've played, and that's not a Final Fantasy game. I mean, even though it has all the tropes, you know, the 4 crystals, the elements, the white wizard, the black wizard, the ninja, the samurai. It has all the stuff that we like, but it's not.
It's a FF game because it actually started out as the sequel to the the four Warriors of Light or whatever.
4 Warriors of Light or something. Yeah.
But then they decided to change it. Like they just said, okay, well, we just think it's going to be better just by it having its own characters. We think we can, you know, make more personality. I mean, because you know, Final Fantasy games. I mean, a lot of those the 4 Warriors of Light, I mean, I don't know if they had like much personality in the game. I remember playing it, but I don't remember it being memorable. But like Bravely Default is memorable.
Yeah,
I think
it is
very memorable in Bravely Default. So I think they did and you know, it's not even really Square Enix that made that game. I mean,
it just has I think they published it. Or did Nintendo publish it here in America and they published it in Japan? I can't remember.
Nintendo got it here in America. In Japan, Square Enix got it. In Japan.
But yeah, it's just a shame that third parties just do some boneheaded things.
Yeah, I got something to bring up involving Square Enix.
Go ahead.
The fact that Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be on the Xbox One, but not the Wii U.
Hold on. I got to chime in on that too. I think it's rather stupid.
Sorry. I'm sorry I laughed, but I'm not surprised.
It's stupid though. We all know
it is stupid. But you know, these are the same people who haven't put a Final Fantasy game, a real Final Fantasy game on a Nintendo console since the SNES.
Yep.
So, I mean, the audience that built Square Enix to what it is, which was Nintendo, okay, they won't put their games, like we got, for the GameCube, we got Crystal Chronicles, which I got, and I played, and I beat, and we got a sequel to that game on the Wii, and also on the DS. But, like, an actual Final Fantasy game with job systems and people leveling up and, you know, combat and a weird story with Sid and an airship. No, we don't get any of that. We don't deserve to get a real Final Fantasy. They just give us garbage.
And the only Final Fantasies that we did get were like remakes of the old ones.
Wasn't the 3DS version like a port of an older game?
Yeah, it was.
No, we got port, but I'm not considering those because those are just ports. I'm talking about like new Final Fantasy games. We got Crystal Chronicles on the GameCube, a sequel to that on the Wii, and Crystal Chronicles, like the handheld version for the DS.
Yeah, that was my point. Was they won't. The 3DS had a game, but it was a port. It wasn't even a new game. So it's like, what is the problem? Because I want to play a Kingdom Hearts game, but they never release on the systems that I have. So it's like, I would buy that game.
We all know. I mean, there's something more to this. This whole thing with Kingdom Hearts. I mean, and come on, these people that work at Square Enix, if they're dumb, whatever, they're dumb. I'm not going to sit here and say that they're dumb, but how can you not be part of like a marketing research? Look at the Wii's fan base. Look at what Wii players like. How could you not say, Kingdom Hearts would be a good fit here? Same thing with the Wii U. How can you look at these systems and say, Kingdom Hearts, we shouldn't bring it to these systems. I mean, especially the Wii. Especially the Wii.
Look, we all know what's going on. Square Enix has had their face surgically attached to Sony's butt, the PS1 era. And, you know, now that, you know, the Xbox came into town and Microsoft has more money than God, they're doing the same thing to Microsoft. The thing is that Square Enix has been losing tons of money since they started this. Let's kiss Sony's behind. Let's kiss Microsoft's behind. And they really made their bones and made lots of money when they were with Nintendo. So I don't understand what the big issue is. I mean, I don't understand what the big issue is. But that's okay. I was never a big Kingdom Hearts fan myself anyway.
I think maybe it's a thing of trying to be with what is cool rather than what actually makes the money.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be very interested to see how Child of Light, how the breakdown of sales, if they ever show that.
They won't.
They won't.
They won't. They will not show
Ubisoft
the
will.
breakdown. Ubisoft will not show the breakdown, just like they won't tell us how much Zombie U is sold. They won't tell us how much Zombie U is sold. We have to rely on VG charts, which isn't accurate, doesn't count the bundles, doesn't count digital sales. You know, like they won't tell us how much that sold. They won't tell us how much digitally Rayman sold. They won't tell us how much all these stuff, because if you do that, it'll show that some platforms, you know, Nintendo platforms for some of those games have a higher one, and they don't want the heckling. They don't want the heckling from fans and like the PR. You know, they just want to be able to put whatever they feel like whenever. And if they make mistakes, then they make mistakes. If they don't, then whatever. But they'll just put it on what they feel like, and that's what they will never show us the breakdown. They'll never show us Child of Light breakdown, because they'll show that Child of Light probably destroyed sales on the Wii U over like Xbox One and some of the other platforms it's on. It'll probably show that it destroyed it pretty bad. I mean, kind of like Pit Trip Runner. So
did you see anyone posting YouTube videos of that being on anything other than the Wii U? It seems like every video I saw, someone was playing it on the Wii U.
I saw PS4. I think Pro Jared played the PS4 version. I actually got a chance to play the PS4 version at one of my friends' house. I actually really like the PS4 version of Child of Light.
Yeah, it's probably like no delay for the battles. There was like on the Wii U, there's like a 5 to 8 second.
It's a tad bit smoother on the PS4, and they don't really use the gamepad. So I actually like using the controller, and for some reason you can't use the Wii U Pro controller for Child of Light on the Wii U.
I use that touch screen in every battle to like quickly get the
you're right about
fireflies and stuff, and the whole the enemies. I thought that worked better than the right analog stick. But.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that does work better. I don't know. I just never did that much. I guess I think I need to probably do that more. But overall, I just think the PS4 version is very good. I did see some people playing that. I think it's good. But I mean, and I know that it did okay on the PS4. I know it did okay, but I just know that I know Ubisoft won't show the breakdowns between the Xbox One and Wii U. They won't do it because the Wii U version is still charting in top eShop sales, and that nobody is playing that game on Xbox One. So they won't show it.
So just getting back to that whole Kingdom Hearts, what does everyone kind of give? I'm just thinking, why won't it be on the Wii U? What do you think the reason is?
I'll let you guys go first. All of you guys go first, and then I'll tell you guys the real reason, because I have a little bit of inside information.
Okay.
Well, that's good to know. I'm waiting to find out what that is.
I told you, they're getting paid. They're getting Skrilla.
Well, obviously, that's obviously part of the plot. But I mean, it's got something more to it too. That couldn't be the only reason. There's something else to it.
They're probably blaming it on the difference in the architecture.
Then obviously they don't want to actually put any work together.
Yeah.
And then why is the game not on PC then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the only guess I would assume. I don't know. I can't think of any other reason they wouldn't.
I'm with that. They ported Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 to PS3.
Yes, true. They did.
And that is a completely different architecture than the PS2.
Yeah.
So I don't see that as an excuse.
Look, you're looking for logic from
I know.
From Squeenix.
We're looking for logic from people that
I remember when
Square
was like the premier Japanese RPG company. Like when you thought RPGs, you thought Squaresoft. And then they merged with Enix. Their only real competition that pushed them to make high-quality RPGs they bought. That was the worst thing that ever happened to Squaresoft.
They monopolized, which
they have no reason. They have absolutely no reason to make good games anymore because they bought their competition.
Well,
and Dragon Quest was always like Dragon Quest. Look, people thought Final Fantasy would shut things down. Dragon Quest would shut. They moved the days when it came out because kids were ditching class to go pick up Dragon Quest, and they blocked their only competition. That was wrong. That should have never happened.
There was people waiting in lines for that game too.
Yeah.
All right, I'm ready to hear Francis's inside information.
Yes, please tell me.
Well, you guys, the Terminator, I think you hit on it a little bit. You pretty much hit on it a lot, but it's also pretty multifaceted as far as between Square Enix, the American branches, and Square Enix, the Japanese branches. I think there's some turmoil between the two. From what I've heard, there's a little bit of turmoil as far as how to progress with the company. That's kind of why you see
so they
how
get
it kind of
Sega situation.
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, the American branch obviously wants to do business with American developers. They want to be on Microsoft's side. They don't care if the game sells a lot on Microsoft's or not. You know why? Because they know if they're on Microsoft's side and put all of their best content on there, they might get the deal, like, you know, DLC deal with Tomb Raider like they got. You know what I'm saying? Like, they might get those little perks. Putting your game on Nintendo system, you don't get nothing when you put a game on Nintendo system, other than the profits that you would make from selling it.
Yeah, because Nintendo's not going to shell out extra money.
They're not gonna give you money for just something that should be on there anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm not gonna give you extra money for doing your job.
So I mean, basically, you know, that's the reason why all these games are coming to Xbox One, even though it doesn't make any sense or not, because they know that when a game that is American focused does come, you know, with Square Enix, like a Tomb Raider, they're gonna get some exclusive DLC, or they're gonna get something. I mean, if they didn't put those games on there, then obviously I don't know if Microsoft would be inclined to give them those deals with their American games. So that's why they're just like that. Plus, also Terminator, you said the architecture. Square Enix is cheap. They're a cheap ass company in some regards. And yeah, like actually making a Wii U version of Kingdom Hearts. I mean, it can run it just fine. But actually putting the time and effort into making a Wii U version, they're just being lazy with it, you know, and the architecture is different. But if the architecture even was the same, that doesn't guarantee that they would have the game either. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That would not guarantee that they would get the game either. So, I mean, it's like I said, I think it's turmoil between the companies, and it's money, of course. You put stuff on Microsoft because you want to get favors, you know.
Yeah.
If Nintendo did the same stuff that Microsoft and Sony did, then you'd see more games, the effort being ported over. If Nintendo actually paid for like exclusive DLC
if
and
Nintendo
stuff.
did that, then they wouldn't have money to put quality into their own games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
It's like
and
Pandora's box. You know,
and there's the big problem in overall. It's like the overall, if you want to talk about like what is like the biggest thing, I would probably say is third-party developers like looking at like Nintendo software is too much. You know what I'm saying? So I mean that's the biggest thing, and it's one of those things where nobody really has like a 100% answer to. You know.
Well, I'm going to be frank about Square Enix. If they let their American branch start to take over, they can follow Sega, okay, that almost went friggin' bankrupt, letting the American branch take over. I mean, since when is a branch more important than the trunk and the roots of the tree?
Well, I'm not saying.
Please let me know that.
I'm not saying that that's exactly what's happening. What I'm saying is that the American branch, obviously, like there's been a shift. Everybody, even Japanese companies, have been shifting over to trying to get more American games out because that's where the market is, and
that's why their games have been garbage.
I mean, and then like with the shift, obviously, people who run the Square Enix of America and all that, they're making the deals. They can speak, you know, English over some of the guys that are over there, over translators, and they're writing out these deals for these, you know, this exclusive stuff. I mean, obviously, Square Enix of Japan, they're also involved too. But I mean, that's a lot of money. I mean, the Tomb Raider deal, that's a lot of money. You know, all the other things that Square Enix has done, that's money. That's more money in their pocket. And they look at Nintendo, they're like, okay, well, they'll use excuses and stuff like that, like I said, but I can see it both ways. I don't want to go one way or another, you know.
Since we're speaking about third parties, I'm going to tell you something funny that came down. This happened June 12th, last week during E3. I haven't seen a lot of people reporting it, but I'm going to talk about it here because I think it's funny and shows the fundamental disconnect between Microsoft and the Japanese audience. June 12th, there's a tweet from Xbox Japan, from Microsoft's Xbox division in Japan, saying Destiny coming exclusively to the Xbox One in Japan. Then, later on that week, Sony comes out with, we are the ones publishing Destiny in Japan, and it's only coming to PS3 and PS4. And this man still has his job. This dude's still getting paid money. I mean, I don't understand how you can be that disconnected from an audience and actually think your product's gonna sell. Because I know it's costing more for them to ship the units to Japan than they're gonna make from sales in Japan.
Yeah, Microsoft. I don't even know why they're
I mean, I know they have to show face. can't embarrass themselves. They don't want to get shown out. But I mean, wasn't the 360 getting spanked by like everything in Japan?
I think it's lifetime $1.5 million or something, maybe.
Wasn't that enough for them? Apparently, they're like, well, shoot, I just got my ass kicked. I want to go back for more.
Did you see the launch lineup for the Xbox One in Japan?
I didn't.
It's. I mean, I wrote a thing on Player S. I'm like, this looks okay for a Western gamer, but for Eastern Japanese gamers, this is.
That lineup is hot garbage.
What is it?
DOA is what it is. It's DOA.
No, the lineup is good. The lineup is good for like if you like those style of games. The games aren't bad, but the lineup for Japanese gamers, they got a few exclusives and stuff in there. But man, I mean, Microsoft is going to need all the luck they can get. They're going to.
What are they coming out with? Forza Horizon 2 as their flagship?
I mean, I can pull up.
Actually, racing games don't do bad in Japan, so that probably wouldn't be all right.
Well, I mean, Gran Turismo didn't do what it. I mean, Gran Turismo released on the PS3, and it didn't sell anywhere near as much as the previous Gran Turismos. Like, there was a sharp dip in Japanese sales for Gran Turismo, and I mean, that's on the PS3. The PS3 was basically, I mean, once the Wii kind of faded out, the PS3's basically been the console in Japan, you know. So
well, the problem with those
Turismo didn't do that well. I don't know if you bring out Forza or anything. I don't know what that's going to do in Japan.
That's true, but you know those racing sims. There's not a lot of change in between each game, other than some visuals and tightening the controls, maybe because they've got the same cars.
Hey, hold on, they lessened the cars too.
Yeah, they're going to unleash the first one, and it's going to be DLC because you can pay to win on the new Forza on the Xbox One. Yeah. So.
You want me to read the launch lineup for Japan?
Go ahead.
Okay. So this is September 4th. You have Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, Battlefield 4, Call of Duty Ghosts, the dubbed version. It's not in a Japanese language. For some reason, the Japanese players don't like it in their own language. Maybe I don't know. That's the reason why it's called dubbed version. Child of Light, Crimson Dragon, Dead Rising 3, FIFA 14, Forza Motorsport 5, Halo Spartan Assault, Killer Instinct, Kinect Sports Rivals, Loco Cycle, Max and the Curse of Brotherhood, Metal Gear Solid 4 Ground Zeroes, Murdered Soul Suspect, Need for Speed Rivals, Onigiri, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. Yeah, Onigiri. Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, Power Star Golf, Rise, Son of Rome, Strider, Thief, Titanfall, Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, Charles Fusion, Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate, which is good, but you can get it on every single other system known to man at this point. Wolfenstein, The New Order, Zoo Tycoon, and Zumba Fitness. Oh, man.
I mean,
so basically the same.
Like 5 or 6 games out of that lineup that Japanese players might actually want to play.
Or they already have on the.
Wait, you counted 5 or 6 games Japanese players?
I counted 2. 1.
I said
that's
Mike.
That's like 17. What is that? 17 or 18 titles?
20 something.
20 something titles. 15 of them are multi-plats. That if you're a Japanese gamer and own a PS3 or PS4, you already got those games if you really want them.
Yeah. And I got a question. Crimson Dragon came out?
Yeah, it was garbage.
Never come out?
It was garbage.
I never saw anything. I didn't know it ever made it out.
It's a download title. It's a $20 download title.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it uses the Kinect, doesn't it?
I think it's optional Kinect.
You can use the controller and stuff.
It's
supposed to be like a spiritual successor to Panzer Dragoon is what it's supposed to be.
But it's god awful.
I think they did some patches, and here we go, patches. They did some patches, and I think it helped the game out a little bit. You know what? I can't go off of my hands-on time because my hands-on time was so limited.
Yeah.
From what I played, it seemed like it could be an okay game, but from what I've heard, it's just way too short, and it does not live up to the predecessors of Panzer Dragoon. You know, like that's
the legacy.
Yeah, that's a big shoe to fill. I mean, I don't know if they should have took that route. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not this type of game. Panzer Dragoon is like, classic, and this
it's
just
long, it's epic, and it's fun.
Yeah, like
yes, it is.
And they shouldn't have said, "Oh, Panzer, yeah, spiritual successor." They shouldn't have hyped it like that because people started playing it. It's like, no, this is not Panzer Dragoon Order.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like,
false hype? Are we talking about third parties? Because false hype was one of the things I was.
The developer, he kept on saying, "Oh, well, it's spiritual successor." I think some of the fans were also trying to hype it like that too.
Yeah.
I don't think it was just Microsoft, but
I think people got severely disappointed.
Yeah,
I honestly didn't know that game ever got released. I've never seen.
Day one.
Was it? Wow.
Yeah, Microsoft basically swept it under the rug because it turned out to be not what it was advertised to be.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I want all the consoles. I mean, trust me, like I want all the consoles to do well. I mean, I even have a video coming up, like with the PS Vita, you know, basically essentially being dead. That's not good. I don't think that's good. You know?
It's not. It's also not good that the Vita has pretty much been outsold by the PS4.
Look, I understand. I understand that people get mad at me when I say that the Vita is dead, but I mean, even though
Sony has killed it.
No, it's not that. It's even though I'm a poli-sci major, if you look at history, every single handheld that's come out that was more technologically advanced and more powerful than whatever Nintendo handheld that was out at the time got its ass kicked by the Nintendo handheld. So what made Sony think they were different?
The PSP, but that's the reason why they made. But the only reason why the PSP did so well is because it was a hacker's dream.
Yeah, you can hack the hell out of it. That's why.
It was a hacker's dream. It's really cool. I think I want to get one, to be honest.
Just to hack it, yeah. I mean, like
that's the only reason people get Vitas.
Yeah,
you can do most of the stuff you can do with a Vita hacked with an Android tablet.
Yeah, I mean, I saw this dude. He had his PSP. He could play NES, SNES, PlayStation games on it, Dreamcast games on it. You can play all of these different types of games on it because it's so hackable. And I mean, that's all. I mean, well, it's not awesome. It's not awesome that you hack and don't let those people get their money. But on the other hand, I mean, yeah, it may have sold so many units, but it was so pirated that Sony was still losing money on it. So, I mean. It's still, I mean, you know.
You saw what the reason why the Vita turned out the way it was. All of its it was because of the piracy of the PSP.
Yeah, and that killed
directly. Yeah, and that directly resulted into having their proprietary memory cards. A lot of stuff that they did, no UMD. I mean, like I think not having backwards compatibility just killed it for a lot of people. Especially
honestly, that was one thing that really screwed the pooch for the Vita because I would have been way more interested in it if it had backwards compatibility.
100%, because you can go to Target or you can go to so many stores and buy like you can buy like 10 PSP like games in the bargain bin. You know what I'm saying? For like $10, they're like $1, $2 each. Like I would have totally bought one and just snapped up a bunch.
I would have got it. Look, I would have got a Vita and ended up in the store with like 20 PSP games.
Exactly.
And do you think that?
The graphics on the PSP are good enough. Like the graphics are good enough. I don't really need, the PSP
console style graphics in your hand.
The graphics are good enough. I mean, if I like 3DS, then why wouldn't I like PSP graphics?
Yeah.
For me personally, it was as soon as they announced that proprietary memory that was ridiculously overpriced.
Yeah.
That was it. I was thinking about getting one, and boom.
They would have done good to go with the SD cards.
Well, yeah. Well, the thing that really hurt Sony also is that their IPs aren't. Like, their IPs aren't even as good as they were in the PS1 era or even the PS2 era. So it's kind of like, what did you have that would bring me only to you for your content? And they're like, well, you can play this game. Like, you can play a stripped-down version of Uncharted. You can play a stripped-down version of God of War. It's like, you can play a stripped-down version of Borderlands 2. It's like, why would I want to play a stripped-down version when I can play the full-screen version at home?
They should have done is brought back some of their more classic franchises.
Legend of Dragoon. I don't know why this game is. Oh my gosh.
So like,
why is it there Legend of Dragoon?
It's called not caring what your fans want.
Yeah.
I really want.
No, I'll take that back. It's called not caring what your real fans want.
Yeah, well, the thing is that Sony's going after the dude bro crowd.
Yeah, they're
which
going after
is stupid
Microsoft's,
for them because they didn't do that well with it in the first place.
Yeah, they're going after Microsoft's wheelhouse. Which, I mean, you'd think that Sony, after getting their butt kicked by Microsoft, would realize that going like. Sony was at their best when they competed against Nintendo. Now that they're competing against Microsoft, they've just been losing money hand over fist.
But
they don't seem to realize that.
Sony could have actually found a middle ground, but they didn't try to do that. They just went from one side right to the next.
Two extremes, no balance.
It's going to work in the short term with the PS4.
I think they compete against Nintendo, though. I think that they do things here and there. Like PlayStation All-Stars, that was a fairly recent game that was definitely trying to compete against Nintendo. You know?
Yeah, and it showed that their IPs aren't strong enough to go up against the game.
They just had. Wait a minute. Okay, before I want to talk about PlayStation. I know we're kind of getting off topic from the original thing here, but I want to talk about PlayStation All-Stars real quick because you know what? To be honest, that game was 3 characters away from being. It just needed 3 different characters. It just needed Snake, Bandicoot, and Cloud. That's all it needed. Was those 3 characters. If it had Snake, those are the 3 most iconic PlayStation 1 characters. Although
I disagree.
That
game was doomed for the start.
I don't think it would have been a good idea for them to attempt Snake when he was in Brawl.
That game
was years after. That was years after. Though.
Here's the thing. PlayStation All-Stars, because I got it, because remember when they hacked everything and they sent everyone the code for free PS Plus?
No,
like if you had a PlayStation, well, okay. When they hacked PlayStation and they were like out for like a month and a half, 2 months, and they sent everyone, you get free PlayStation Plus for like a month. And I used my code because they gave people access to the game for free. And I played that game. And I played it and I beat it, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it an open mind. I know it's not Smash Brothers, but you could tell that basically they were trying desperately to make a game that was gonna be Sony Smash Brothers, and I mean the battle system was not intuitive. It was unbalanced. I know they patched later on to fix the imbalance issues, but it was still rather imbalanced. Most of the current PlayStation Sony audience doesn't even know who in the hell half these characters are. And I mean, it shows that Sony has no idea how to support an IP. They don't. I mean, you go to a Nintendo fan, even a new Nintendo fan, you say, who's that dude who says, show me your moves? They're like, oh, it's Captain Falcon. You showed half of those characters to a current Sony fan. It's like, who's Nico Nico?
Yeah, that was.
I don't know who the hell Nico Nico is.
I don't
Who's
even
the dog on the skateboard? It's a dog on a skateboard? Now, me, I'm like, it's Power Rapper the Rapper. He steps on the gas. He's rapping. He's stepping on the gas.
Yeah,
I love Parappa. I love Parappa.
I love that game. I love that game. If Sony, I would buy a PS4 tomorrow if Sony said, you know what, we're making a Power Rapper the Rapper 3.
Oh, I would totally buy that.
Which you would think that they would. That's one of their big problems, though. They'll develop an IP to a certain point, they just drop it.
Yeah, they don't support their IPs, and that's why I'm shocked that people are like, I can't believe they dropped support for the Vita. Sony dropped support for everything. They support it to a point, and then they say, "Oh, you guys want Ratchet and Clank?
Okay,
we'll make a movie."
Mr. Red Fox, do you hate Sony?
Yeah, people keep on asking me that. I own all their consoles. I spend so much money with Sony, it's not even funny.
I know, I'm joking. I'm just pulling your leg, dude. Don't worry, bro. I
am not going to fall for their BS. I'm not one of those Sony fans who's like, oh, well, Sony's just perfect. No.
I know one of those. I know a guy like that.
No.
I mean,
Sony has some major issues.
I got a few things I wanted to cover. First
go
of all,
go ahead. Sorry.
Do you think it was the roster that hurt PlayStation All-Stars more than anything, the lack of iconic characters that people wanted to play as?
Yes.
No, well, I think it's more of like this. They had iconic characters. It's just Sony's audience was different from the audience that would have recognized those characters. Like someone like me, I know Power Rapper the Rapper. I know Nico Nico. Even though Big Daddy is not their IP, I don't know why in the hell he was one of the characters on there. But I knew a lot of those characters. Like, wow, that's cool. But you shouldn't have had Power Rapper the Rapper fighting a Hellgas soldier. I'm sorry.
Wait a minute. You're trying to tell me. Listen, you're trying to tell me that if they had Cloud, that wouldn't have made a difference. You're not trying to tell me if they had Cloud, it would be completely different.
Well, here's the
thing. I think it would have sold better.
It would have sold better, but it wouldn't have changed it from basically, it would have sold maybe 2-3 million.
Well, it only sold, what, a couple 100,000.
Yeah, it would have sold 2 or 3 million, but that still would have been nothing compared to its competitor, which at the time was Pro.
That's not the point. Well, the point to me is I think that the game, it doesn't have to be as big as Smash Bros. Every game isn't going to be as big as Smash Bros. Because Nintendo has
but that's
a legacy.
what they were aiming for.
Well, that's what they're trying to do, but Nintendo has a legacy of going back 30 years or whatever, so they can't do that. My issue is, my problem with the game is like, okay, I grew up on PS1 as well. I like PlayStation. I have no problem with any of the other companies. And my problem is that I grew up on Final Fantasy VII. I grew up on Crash Bandicoot, and I grew up watching my brother play Metal Gear Solid. I played Twin Snakes when I got older, but I grew up watching my brother play the older ones and playing the PS1 ones. Not having those three characters, those were the biggest sellers. What games on PlayStation 1 sold more than Bandicoot, Final Fantasy VII, and Metal Gear? There's not many other games.
You know, could have had what are the other characters?
The only thing I could think of would have been Spyro.
Yeah, well, the only thing I'm saying is this: it's not that the character, because even if those characters had been the audience, the people who would have the people
would have went and bought it. Everybody who was a PS1 fan would have bought it. I would have went out and bought the game. My brother didn't buy it. My brother was he was more of a PlayStation fan than a Nintendo fan.
Yeah.
He's more of a Nintendo fan now because of the type of games. He doesn't like the shooters and stuff. But he would have went out and bought it. When he saw the game, he's like, "Where's Bandicoot?
Well, they don't own Bandicoot anymore. They sold it off for money.
They don't own Big Daddy either, but they got Big Daddy and they own right in.
I don't know why they did that. I have no idea why they got.
Why is DMC Dante? Wait, hold on. Let me just say this. Why is DMC Devil May Cry Dante in there instead of regular Dante? Like, that's just stupid. They shouldn't have done that either. Like,
the game is an enigma wrapped up in a mystery, wrapped up in a conundrum. Like, literally, okay. Like, I had an argument with someone on one of my channels. They were talking about, on one of my vids, they were talking about how PS All-Stars could have been so much better. I'm like, look, listen, okay? The ball was dropped all around. Sony has not been supporting their IPs for years, so the audience that would have been there was gone. The roster choice for some of those characters was just.
But if it was a good game with good characters, even some of the Smash players might have.
I would have jumped. I know I would have jumped. I would have jumped if they had Cloud and Snake and Bandicoot.
And the balance, I think the balancing issues turned off a lot of people.
Yeah, the balance.
Would be nice to have.
They can patch that.
Well, like I said, the roster really is what turned me off. I was like, why in the hell is Paw Rapper the Rapper fighting a Hellgas soldier? Please, if you can explain this junk to me. The only characters that they really had on there that made perfect sense was Jak and Daxter versus Ratchet and Clank. That made sense.
Oh, that made sense. That was great.
That was great, but
great.
Some of those other ones, they're like, I'm like, you got Kratos, one of the most violent characters I've ever seen.
No, he needs to be in there. Kratos needs to be in there.
He was the most. But anyway, let's not talk about PlayStation.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. We went off on one because I'll just say this. I really wanted to like PlayStation All Stars, and I actually played it a lot. I actually liked. It's okay, but I really wanted to play as Cloud. Like, I really wanted.
I got it for free, and I was like, I played it. I was like, wow, this. I mean, because the thing is that I see what they were going for, and I see where they dropped the ball, and I'm like, if you guys just hadn't been so focused on, bound. I think they were bound by the people upstairs. But now that we got that out of the way, let's let Terminator Juice continue with his topics.
Okay, let's get back to third parties and. Some of the things that bug me the most, and I'll get your guys' opinions. For one, I hate people getting hyped, and I hate them showing off CGI trailers and
target renders.
And target renders and showing the PC build at a PS4 event like Batman Arkham Knight, and the whole thing with Watch Dogs and those E3 settings on there, someone found them, and now they're saying, well, they turned them off because it affects the stability of the game. And I don't like being deceived. That's in life. That's my number one thing. Just be honest. Don't say one thing and do another. Just be up front if the game's not ready, or if you're just going to do a little tease. That's one thing. But don't show us stuff, and then 2 years later the game doesn't look that good as what you showed us. I just don't like being lied to and deceived like that, and that's probably my biggest problem with a lot of the third parties. And there's obviously Watch Dogs was the most recent one to do that, and then like I said, Arkham Knight. It's a PS4 event, and then someone asked them right up afterwards, and they said, yeah, that was the PC build. It's like, I don't like that. I don't know if that bothers you, but that bothers me one of the most, like the worst out of all the things they do.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, GBGINU.
I was just gonna say they do that for the hype though. It's
to
get people excited, to make them want to have it. Like, oh, look how good that looks. And a lot of people will see that and get it home, and most won't even know the difference. They won't even notice the difference right off because they don't care. They are in their mind that picture.
It looks like that.
Is what's there.
Yeah, it looks like that.
But to those of us that care about our games more, who have been gamers for a while, we'll look at them like, this isn't what they showed me.
It's false advertising.
They completely muddy things up with this.
It's like
and
continue.
I was like, I'm not a graphics whore type of person, but if you show me a game with vibrant graphics and is bright and colorful, that's what I want. I don't want to see a game that's muddied up and is dark and gray afterwards, like Order 1886.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the colorful version in that setting rather than the muddy, gritty looking one.
Yeah.
Because the world is colorful. I don't understand why people associate with gloomy, dark colors with realism. That's one thing I've never understood. But it's like the third parties, they know that the gamers fall for some of this stuff. And it's like I told you, I had that Sony, one of my friends is a Sony fanboy. He thought Battlefield 4 PS4 looked as good as what he was seeing on the trailers with the PC version and stuff. And I went over his house and I was like, dude, this doesn't look like that. Doesn't look any better than it's probably medium settings on my computer, if that. And he didn't care. He just it was sold to him as this amazing visual thing, and that's what he was really excited about. He pre-ordered it right after E3 that last year, and then when the game came out, he played it, and he noticed it and didn't want to say anything, but he acted like it was the game that he was promised. And it's just, that's kind of sad that people are like that and that third parties take advantage.
I think it falls into two categories. I think you have people who don't want to believe that that people were conned, because that's what it is. It's a con game. Okay, it's like someone telling you, it's like someone basically owning a restaurant and saying, we serve real Italian food, and it turns out they're catering the food from another restaurant down the street. It's not their food. They're giving you something else. It's false representation in advertising. But I mean, you're seeing that, and people don't want to admit they just got conned, because that's what's going on. I mean, Ubisoft did it last gen with Far Cry 3. Remember when Far Cry 3 came out and everyone's like, "Oh, this looks so great," and people are like, "Wait a second, this is the PC build." Well, it's gonna look like this on the PS3 and Xbox 360, and then it came out and it was a severe downgrade, and people were shocked. I'm like, come on.
They don't even show those versions, like.
Yeah, they
until
never
the game releases and then people upload it. That's the first time you see the 360 PS3 version. Battlefield 3 did the same thing. Far Cry 3 is a perfect example. I played that game, barely hit 30 frames a second, and it was just a struggle for me to play. And it was enjoyable when I played it, but it just, when I saw what it was supposed to look like,
unless you own a PC.
I was like, holy crap, like that. They don't. Why do they keep it a secret? It's like the Wii version of Call of Duty. They never showed it ever until someone bought the game and uploaded it, and it's.
Well, look, there's only one developer that will show their game running on the hardware. That's Nintendo. Yeah. That's it. Like, and people like, that game looks like garbage. Well, I guarantee you,
it looks way better by the time it comes out.
Once it comes out, like, I don't care how good Legend of Zelda that trailer looked. By the time it releases, it's gonna look 20 times better.
It'll look better.
I'm gonna be like, oh my god.
That was probably their best reveal, like from a graphic standpoint, for the Wii U by far.
Yeah.
Like, the 3D World and Mario Kart 8 none of those games impressed on their initial reveals,
Yeah.
and then they ended up looking amazing. And then Zelda U I think it already looks amazing. So maybe there's not as much room for the improvement on that game. But
No,
you're right.
I think it's gonna go. I think it's gonna go up just like they normally do.
There's plenty of room for improvement, but it's
Yeah.
just the art style makes it look visually appealing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's not just the graphics; it's all the way everything's moving, the shadows from the clouds, the mist, and that's kind of
they have grass that actually moves individually like real grass does.
Look, all I'm gonna say about Nintendo when it comes to them revealing games is they're like Rock Lee from Naruto, right? You think, oh, this is the best they got, and then they take off those leg weights, and it's like, oh shit.
Hold on, that's not even opening. That's not even opening the chakra gates at that point.
Yeah, I mean, look. Can I take off these leg weights? I was just messing around before, but just wait until I take off these leg weights. You'll see just how badass you are then. And no other developer does that. First, second, third party, no other developer strives for perfection with their games. Like, well, that's good enough. We'll fix it post-launch with patches.
Well, I would say I'll challenge you there, Mr. Red Fox.
Okay.
There are a few that I would say that actually strive for that. I would say Platinum Games.
Well, yeah, but they're Japanese. I need to make
an amendment.
More Japanese companies strive for that level of perfection than Western developers. Let me put it that way.
Okay, because Platinum Games is pretty awesome.
Yeah, but they're a Japanese the Japanese work ethic in regards to that, like always striving to do your best, always trying to give the best experience, is completely different than people who are like give you some garbage and they're like, well, I mean, it's a big huge game. I mean, we're obviously gonna miss something.
I will say that post or before EA takeover, BioWare was that company.
Yes,
too.
they were. Yes,
I would say that,
Like, and they were like that. I mean, they were like that with Jade Empire.
Oh heck yeah, Jade
Dragon
Empire.
Age.
Star Wars game that they did.
KOTOR.
KOTOR, yep.
And then they made Dragon Age 2. And when they made Dragon Age 2, I knew, when they made Dragon Age 2, I knew Mass Effect 3 was in trouble. I knew it. I was like,
that had EA's hands all over that game, though. That game was a focus test. That game was a focus test, man. Like they said, well, let's see what players want. Players want more action, more combat, more this and that. That was a focus test. I mean,
they ruined one of the best franchises BioWare ever created. They ruined it. Hopefully, this new one, because I saw a video about it, is better. But I mean, I don't understand third-party developers and their lack of they give you, it's a shell game. It's like what you see is a facade of what you're actually going to get, and that's just, I mean, it's like dating a woman and then you get her home and it's like, damn, nothing about you is real.
She's a man.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
You see the boobs come off, and
yeah,
it's like, okay.
Well, it's like that Red Fox. It's like that Red Fox joke where the guy takes her home and he's like, she took off her voovalooms, the caboose, everything.
What is a voomaloom? I'm not
following.
She threw it on the couch, and she said, well, and I jumped on the couch because I'm not a fool. Well, voovalooms are the chest.
That's a East Coast thing. If you said boomaloom here in California, you might get the cops called on you or something.
That's old school. That's old
school.
That's Sanford and Son old school.
Oh, Sanford.
Yeah, that's old school. That's not East Coast. That's old school.
Okay,
and I listen to a lot of Red Fox albums because I like the vinyl records. So
my dad used to watch Sanford and Son all the time. I was pretty young. I don't remember much.
I remember a lot of that show when I was young.
It was so good, so very good. But it's false advertising, and they think it's okay to do that. And
I'm not even going to place the full blame on the developers because it tends to be a lot more the publishers than the developers.
Yes. And
they're rushing developers to give crap.
We let them get away with it. We don't hold these people accountable.
Well,
People
I
didn't
do,
go to,
but
people didn't go to
the general populace doesn't.
Yeah, people didn't go to Ubisoft and say, "Hey, you guys hid E3 settings in your game. You know what? Screw you. Screw Watch Dogs." I'm telling you right now, I am not getting Watch Dogs for the Wii U. And considering that it's coming out on everything else beforehand, and they're probably going to charge Wii U owners $60 for a game that by the time it reaches release, like on other consoles, it'll be like $30 or $40.
Yeah,
I'm
that
not
was the
buying it.
Deus Ex.
Well, obviously, what they're going to say is, we put these additional features in here, so this justifies the $60 price tag.
Exactly, Deus Ex all over you.
And I will say that, you're charging me $60 for a game that I can get from my PS3. By then, I'll probably have a PS4 or an Xbox One. I can get on a next-gen system for $30 or $40, and you're charging me $60 for my other next-gen system because you added gamepad features. Knowing Ubisoft, they'd probably be half-ass gamepad features. So, I mean, that justifies me not opening up my wallet and swiping my debit card. So, we all have justifications on both sides.
Yeah, and then, like I said, Square Enix and who was the one that made Deus Ex? Was that
That was Square.
That's Square Enix. They published it.
That was Square.
They okay, this is, I don't know if you guys are fans. I watched a couple of his videos, Hip Hop Gamer. I'm not a subscriber of his or anything, but he went to an event. They had Deus Ex on the Wii U, and
I think I know what video you're talking about.
he asked the questions that people wanted to be asked about the Wii U version. I gotta give him credit for that. He asked one of the, I don't know if the guy was just like part of the.
I think the dude that was there was probably just part of the marketing team.
Yeah, that's what I think. But he asked them, okay, how'd you take advantage of the Wii U? How'd you take advantage of the newer hardware?
And I hated this answer that came.
And the guy goes, oh, we made sure that the game ran the same on all the systems. We wanted.
And I was like, what? You seriously just like, that?
Wait, hold up, Terminator, keep going. Terminator, keep going.
The guy answered by saying that maybe he was just trying to make it so it didn't seem like the other versions were crap, but he said they made sure that all three versions, PS3, Xbox 360, and the Wii U, all looked equal, so that one wasn't better than the other. Like, he said that, and he was from Square, from like you said, the marketing and stuff, and he asked him about the gamepad features, and then that's when it was there's the extra $15 or whatever the Wii U version cost, because they put all the time into the gamepad features. But when it came to the visuals and everything else, he said they made sure that all three versions were equal. So whether that was true or not, or the guy just...
Oh, it was true. Have you played Deus Ex?
I haven't played it, but I saw comparisons. I thought the 360 version even looked better than the Wii U version.
The 360 version looks a little bit better than the Wii U version. From what I've seen, I played the heck out of the 360 version. I beat that game 3 times. Absolutely love it. It's a great game. But the Wii U version is a disappointment. It's a disappointment in some ways. It's good. It's like, oh man, that was really cool. Like, they have some pretty innovative use of the Miiverse.
I heard the gamepad features are actually, other than the sniping or for aiming, everything else seemed to be pretty good. But did it justify? Why was the 360 PS3 $40? $35?
I thought they came out like $20.
It should have been. And it depends on what region you live in. In Europe, that game was like $20 on the Xbox 360. On the Wii U, it was like, I think, $35 or $40. So Europe already had like a little bit of a discount. But in America, it was $60.
Mm-hmm, at first, yeah.
All I'm going to say about that game is
50 or 60. 50 or I don't know if it was $50 or $60 when it first came out. Might have been 50.
Square
It was
Enix
60.
Square Enix said that they added special features for the gamepad, and then they friggin' patched in those same features to be used with the Vita.
Exactly.
The Vita and Smart Glass for the Xbox One and PS3.
It's a double-edged sword, because people aren't going to buy games when this stuff's happening, but then when they don't buy the games, then we don't get it anymore.
Look, all I'm going to say is this. Tell me someone who's going to buy a game for $19, because you can get Deus Ex Human Revolution for $19 now. And then they released the new thing, the
Directors,
is free for those people who already had it for the PS3 and Xbox 360. Charged us $60 for it. Then 50, I said $50, and then you're going to sit there and give us, and then charge, and then tell these other people, oh, you have to spend $99 for a Vita, or however much it costs for a smart glass. Oh God, oh Jesus!
Smart glass itself is free.
Yeah, if you have the phone already.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. The phone. Yes. What is it? $30 contract for that type of smartphone? 50, 60? I don't know.
Well, if it was either your phone or you had a tablet, but yeah.
I use Credo.
I'll just tell you guys something right now. The integrated smart glass features with Deus Ex Director's Cut on the 360 is a piece of trash. You can't hold both controllers at the same time. You gotta just angle it. It's not like the Wii U gamepad where you actually have, or even the Vita. The Vita and the Wii U experience are far better. The Wii U experience is the best. The Vita experience is very similar. I've played all three because I like them. I actually own all of them, and I've experienced it. I use my buddy's Vita, and it's just the Vita's experience is okay, but the Wii U gamepad experience is the best experience. But the Xbox 360 smart, I mean, I was using a Kindle Fire, so that's not the recommended tablet to use, but it's trash. It's like you can't hold it. You have to have it separate. It's separate from the controller. It's horrible.
You know what I found hilarious about Nintendo games coming to the system is that everything that we have as an exclusive for the Wii U, for a Nintendo console, in general for Nintendo console, especially for the Wii U that I've seen, everything we have that's made special for us. These third-party mofos will go and port it over to systems that aren't built for that experience, and then act surprised when it bombs on those systems. And then when we have something that's exclusive for us, and there's no way in hell it's ever going to come to their systems, they trash it, they down it, like Bayonetta Ultimate Edition.
Yeah, that's an issue with the community more than anything, really.
Or Devil's Third, which, I mean, they were talking about until it was mentioned to be a Wii U exclusive.
Yeah.
The bad thing is people aren't realizing, though, that Nintendo saved both of those IPs.
Oh, I know they saved them.
People are still saying, well, this will be on 360, PS1.
No, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. It'll be on 360 if you can figure out how to hack a 360 to play Wii U games.
I mean, it was on the E3 for Bayonetta 2. Someone still thinks that Bayonetta 2 will eventually be
that's not going to happen. Nintendo bankrolled that game. That is going nowhere.
So that's an issue.
Maybe Bayonetta 3 might.
Yeah.
Number 2 does good enough, but I don't see it happening. I think that might stay with Nintendo.
Yeah,
purely honest.
Stay with them regardless because they're the ones that money had it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a separate kind of
Let's
deal.
say, see, if Nintendo spends money on a game, it's going to be on their console only.
That's when they put money out, is when it's going to be exclusive for them.
Yep. And I like seeing the look on the fanboys' faces that are like, but it's gonna come to our system. I'm like, no, it ain't. Look, it's like that song by that dude, forever, never, 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 never. It's never gonna happen. Never.
I was at a GameStop once, and I was talking about Bayonetta coming out and all that, and the guy's like, oh yeah, I like Bayonetta 2 and all that, but ew, it's coming out on the Nintendo system. And I'm thinking to myself, really? You're embarrassed?
Well, would that guy be interested in knowing that Nintendo told Platinum for the Link costume that Bayonetta needed to reveal a little bit more skin?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
this is Nintendo.
Well,
everybody says it's Kitty. And then Conker's Bad Fur Day is pretty much uncensored.
And like the dude in charge of Rare, like one of the managers, he was like, I was having an apoplexy. I thought we were going to get in trouble. But the Nintendo of Japan people looking at it were cracking up and rolling on the floor. People think Japanese people have no sense of humor. Have you seen their animes? Those people are just as perverted as anyone else.
No, I'm sorry, if the Mario Kart Direct didn't tell people that Nintendo was perverted, I don't know what will.
Yeah. No, that Smash Brothers Direct where they showed that porn music for the GameCube controller. I knew what they were doing with that lady talking.
What part were you referring to in the Mario Kart 8?
I'm talking about when they were talking about the customizable parts on the carts and bikes and stuff, and they had, especially around where Rosalina popped up.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta know that Nintendo was perverted.
Yeah, they're perverted. They're perverts.
I think Red Fox made probably the best point about against Nintendo being a kiddie system right there, because look at the Japanese culture, look at what is acceptable with their anime and their hentai, and I mean they're definitely way more open about that kind of like sexualities.
It's just there's a time and a place. There's a time and a place. Like, you're never gonna see Mario and Princess Peach hook up, but
it's in everybody's mind.
Yeah, if you played Twilight Princess, there was this lady with a really, really massive bust who was like totally hitting on this dude in the game.
Yeah.
And like it made him uncomfortable. And you knew what she was talking about. It's like, oh snap, this lady is hot to try. But you know, people don't. I mean, I find it hilarious how people are like, Nintendo is kiddie. Okay, we got Bayonetta 1 and 2, the Ultimate Edition, with all these awesome features being added to it. Plus, we got Devil's Third, and you know that's just what we know about. Plus, Watch Dogs coming out, but I don't think that's going to sell very well.
What they say, 2 other games in the vein of Bayonetta yet to be announced. But
3 other games.
3?
I mean, even looking at the Wonderful 101, there is some stuff in there.
Oh, God. Well, the very end where the dude's like butt naked.
I was like, come on.
He's like, I used so much power, my clothes got ripped. I mean, dang.
That's disgusting.
That
okay.
Okay then, dude. I mean, Wonder Red. Okay then, Wonder Red. I mean, damn. But
that's a little bit too much power then.
Yeah, that's a lot of power Wonder Red was using.
The thing with that is like you said, there's a time and a place. What people like to generalize. Nintendo, like I was gonna make this point on one of my videos, and I never got to it, but like rated or MA or rated R movies or mature games, those ratings are there so parents know that their kids shouldn't be playing those games or watching those movies.
Yeah.
But G and E and teen and PG-13, that doesn't mean adults aren't allowed to watch these or play
Exactly.
these. It's not a limit. It's just the R is just there for, and the MA is just there for parents to know that their young kids shouldn't play this. But like I said, E doesn't mean, it means everyone. It doesn't mean only kids. And then if you're hit an age above like 18, you shouldn't play this. Like that's just how it's looked at.
Well,
the bad thing is, Wonderful 101 was rated teen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it may have been rated teen, but that game is so.
There's some raunchy content.
It's got some raunchy stuff going on in there. People. But I mean, it's a platinum game. Platinum games are always kind of even when they were Clover, because if you play Okami, that game gets dark, and I don't mean just it has like sexualized stuff in it.
What are you talking about? That's a cartoon game. That's a kid's game.
Okami? Yeah.
Animes are pretty much cartoons.
It's totally
not exactly
cartoony.
the same, but you know what?
Speaking of Clover and Platinum, let's talk about Capcom.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Dude.
Can I just say something? Can I just say something right now, which I've seen so much when people talk about Nintendo? Look, Nintendo's not going to buy Capcom. Microsoft.
That's what I wanted to say. That's what I want to say.
Sony's not going to buy Nobody's going to buy Capcom. People have overblown this story of Capcom taking over, like ending their takeover defense. Like they have overblown it to the point to where people are, oh, Capcom's going to be sold to somebody anytime now. This is not the same situation. It's not going to happen. Nintendo's not going to buy Capcom, so everybody needs to stop. Saying that they are.
I just have three things I
think they would do well to invest in some of their IPs, though.
No, I will say I'm just gonna say three things.
Money hacks.
I'm gonna let other people. Yeah, I'm just gonna say three things, and then I'm gonna let other people take it over because I want to hear your guys' opinion. But here's what I want to say. First, Nintendo's not gonna buy Capcom because Capcom has I don't care how much Capcom is worth, they've got debt that's close to that because, they've been making some bad financial decisions. Like, we made all this money on Monster Hunter. Let's put it into a mobile studio. Because mobile is just, we never hear about mobile companies folding up or mobile games tanking.
The only thing that would
We
have done
never
them
hear
any
about
good in mobile is putting a bunch of Mega Man games on mobile that
They
were
did that.
console experiences.
They did that, and that people don't want to play a Mega Man game on a mobile console. On a mobile on a phone. They don't want to do that. So that flopped. Then they're taking their iconic IPs and they either haven't released games for them, or they basically took the games and made really bad. They either took the IPs and made really bad games that damaged the IP. Like at this point, I don't want to play another. I don't want to play another Mega Man game because, I do want to play a Mega Man game. I don't want to play Breath of Fire because I don't want to play a mobile Breath of Fire. I don't want to play Breath of Fire on a mobile. I'm not going to play Breath of Fire on a mobile. I want a console Breath of Fire or handheld Breath of Fire.
You need them buttons, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not just that. I just want a game I do not want to, anyone who has ever played any type, even Angry Birds on a smartphone knows that the battery gets hot and you almost burn your friggin' hand. Who wants to have that experience on a game that demands you sit there and play long stretches of it like an RPG? I don't. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go through that. And then lastly, Capcom has forgotten their roots trying to reach out for other people. Like the reason people like Capcom, Square Enix, and Konami is that their games are so vastly different from what you can get at home. I don't want to play Resident Evil that's like Gears of War. Or Call of Duty. I want to play a Resident Evil that's like Resident Evil. I want to play a Mega Man that's like Mega Man. I want to play a Castlevania game that's like Castlevania. I don't want to play something that's, we really need to... I don't want to play God of War Vania, okay? If I want to play God of War Vania, I just play God of War. Or Darksiders, which is basically God of War Vania. Two God of War Vanias is enough. We don't need 3.
So
what are your guys' thoughts about Capcom?
Let's see. What about them? Locking stuff on the disc, and you have to pay for it to unlock it.
Oh, that was the dumbest thing they ever did. Knowing that PC players hack. Come on, that was stupid. Yeah. They could have at least removed the data. They were stupid all around.
Yeah, like the download size was like couple megabytes.
I think it was kilobytes actually.
It was like, how is this like 10 kilobytes with all this stuff, man? That was a key code.
No, it was Capcom releasing all these different versions of the same damn game. This is Super Street Fighter 4. This is Super Street Fighter 4 Ultra Edition. This is Super Street Fighter 4 Super Ultra Edition. This is Super Street Fighter 4 Super Ultra Ultimate Maxo Combo Edition.
That was actually in the
This is Super Street Fighter 4. We don't know what to name it edition.
No, I'm waiting for them to release Super Street Fighter 4. We're serious. We promise this is the last friggin' version edition.
I think that's honestly just Capcom as a whole. I think that's their biggest problem. Is
they keep getting stuck on remaking the same thing over and over and over.
And it started with once they started releasing on the Genesis and the Super Nintendo, they had the Turbo Edition, and that was the one everyone ended up... I actually rebought the game because I didn't know the first one only had 8 characters. And, we're going way back with Capcom. Yeah. And then, boom, here's the Turbo Edition, you get to play as all the characters. And it's like...
And then they had the Super Edition where they added 4 more characters, and then the Super Turbo Edition, which added Akuma.
Warriors was the one that had almost everyone except for Akuma. And then they released a final version. Like, there's 4 versions of that game on the SNES and the Genesis. That's too many versions of the game.
That's the start of it. But Dark One, you were saying something there.
I think when they were doing that with Street Fighter 2, they were doing that when they were competing with Midway with
Mortal Kombat.
And so you saw that going on. But the one with Akuma, the console version, never came out on Genesis or Super NES. It actually came out on 3DO.
It was 3DO and PlayStation and Sega Saturn.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they've been doing shady things like milking. With the Resident Evil thing, I don't know what happened. I'm not even like the director, didn't he leave after like 4 or something? Like the original guy.
Yeah.
But
what was the real train wreck?
Hmm.
It's the Tekken Cross Street Fighter or Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
I don't even remember
yeah,
that.
they haven't. They won't make it.
Well, it's already
Tekken Cross Street Fighter won't come out because of some problems with Namco.
Yeah,
But
the other
They
one,
just
the one
will
that's
not
out
release
right
that.
now, the one that's like Street Fighter 4, it's missing characters and you have to download them.
it's missing playability. Is oh god, that game is a conundrum of bullcrap.
I've gotten a lot of Capcom fighting games, but that's the only one I will not get because it's an incomplete game.
Yep.
It is very incomplete.
That's what-
And this is from somebody who has played it, and I won't play it anymore.
It's like Fox said in the beginning, you're getting less. Now we're 20 years later, and now you're getting less content than you were.
Yep.
Do you want to know what's even worse about that game? It's sadly that Capcom made the damn Namco characters play better than their own.
Yep. Yeah. No,
And that's not a
thing-
joke.
The sad thing is that Capcom used to be one of the kings of arcade style fighters,
Mhm.
and now it's like, I mean, it's
You
like a
can't really
joke.
find a good one anywhere though now, as far as
there's Guilty
arcade
Gear.
style.
There's Guilty Gear. Namco used to be the king of one of the kings of 3D style fighters, but
It was them and Sega.
well, Virtual Fighter I always found to be a little too floaty.
Yeah,
was-
Virtual Fighter was a bit more technical for me. I
Mhm.
mean, it's not as far as buttons, but
Yeah.
just like how it felt.
I always like Soul Calibur because I like the whole sword thing. Like in my opinion, Soul Calibur 2 was like the highlight of that series because it was you could get into it, but it had in depth with the whole how you could interrupt people's attacks and parry and all that stuff. And then they started trying to steal stuff from 2D fighters with like super bars and ultra. I'm like,
yeah, they didn't need all that.
just go back to what made Soul Calibur great,
The
please.
system in Soul Calibur 2 was probably its peak,
Yeah.
Yeah, that
but
was.
as far as the engine.
Plus the horrible dubbing, which just made that game so much fun. It's
Oh, that was very laughable.
horrible dubbing.
That's why I wish that I'm ticked off with them for not releasing the HD remake for the Wii U,
Oh,
so that we
yeah.
could have the complete
Yeah.
game with all
There
of
we
the
go.
characters that were available.
If I remember correctly, wasn't the GameCube one the best-selling one out of the three?
Yes.
Yes, it was because
well,
of Link.
you know, GameCube had two of Namco's highest-selling games of that generation: Tales of Symphonia and
Soul Calibur.
Soul Calibur 2. But they can't put those games on the Wii U when they re-release the shit on every other console.
Which I feel like that's just
Oh.
a detriment.
That falls perfectly into what this whole thing was supposed to be about is these third-party publishers and developers doing things that don't make any sense, and that's a perfect example. Why can't I play Soul Calibur 2 HD on my Wii U?
I
with
want
Link?
to play as Link and beat the hell out of people.
I would play
I
it.
want to
Even
be
if
able
it's-
to have Link, Spawn, and Hiachi all in the game together.
Well, I'll tell you the truth. Heihachi never made any sense because
No,
the dude doesn't
he
use
doesn't.
a sword.
He
He doesn't use
doesn't,
a
but
sword.
he was a character that was thrown in the game.
Yeah,
so I just want all
PlayStation.
of them
Spawn
together.
made sense. Link made perfect sense.
Oh, yeah.
Real quick amendment to the Soul Calibur on the PS2 was the best versions.
Oh,
Soul Calibur 2.
no.
Yeah, but I mean,
No.
Best selling?
best selling.
Oh, best selling. Okay,
Best selling version? Okay.
I'm gonna say
Yeah,
best
the
version.
three-
That's subjective.
But the thing about it is this: like, you look at the install base, especially when those games came out. The fact that the GameCube version was anywhere near the PS2 version
Tells
is,
you something.
Yeah, it
it
tells
just shows you that
something.
Nintendo is dedicated to those types
What-
of games. It was a
Do
good
you
one.
have the numbers for the GameCube for sales?
Yeah, this is VG charts, so of course.
Not completely accurate, but you know.
Yeah.
But VG charts is actually pretty good with with older
With
games.
old games, yeah.
Yeah. So Soul Calibur 2 on the PS2 that sold 2.06, and Soul Calibur on the GameCube sold 1.5. Soul
Yeah.
Calibur on the Xbox sold 1 million.
Yeah.
So
Well,
with the
you know.
weakest install base, it still managed to outsell at least one of the other two.
Yeah, and it was pretty close. I mean, you compare. I mean, at the time, that's 2003. The PS2's install base still it dwarfed the
Yeah,
game.
it was probably over 80 million at that
Well,
point.
I
but-
mean, I can understand that, but still, it was just. I mean,
Isn't-
the GameCube version was awesome.
And then they made the Soul Calibur 3 was exclusive to the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Which was a stupid move, but
It was.
Well,
I think that was.
Sony actually paid for that one.
yeah, they
Sony-
did, and it completely ruined the quality of the game.
Not only that, but it didn't even sell either. It was it actually sold worse than all the games Soul Calibur 2 on the PS2 and
I
on
played
the
it. It was like basically
It's a
Namco. Like people keep on talking about Namco Bandai and how like it's great they're working on Smash Bros. I'm glad they're helping Sakurai with Smash Brothers, but man,
But
wouldn't
we
it
know
have
who's
been,
in control of it.
yeah, but wouldn't it have been great with during this drought if Namco Bandai had released a digitized version of Soul Calibur 2 with all playable characters
Online.
with online. I mean, even if it wasn't cross-platform where you could play against other people, because I mean, Link would have been exclusive to
Sony
the
and
Nintendo
Microsoft don't
console.
want cross-platform.
Yeah,
So, yeah, that
even if it
wouldn't
was
happen,
just people
but-
on the Wii playing against each other, that would have been awesome. Or Tales of Symphonia. I don't even want the second one. The second one is garbage. But if we could have had Tales of Symphonia,
Yeah, it's just why
I
we're
just
here
didn't
talking.
get it. It was like, come on, this is a golden opportunity, and you know Nintendo fans will buy
Yes.
almost anything.
Especially then. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot for us to
They
buy.
can still release it now and make decent money off of it.
well, someone
They
got
just
mad
won't.
at me. Someone got mad at me for saying this. I said the Tales series has really been going downhill since Tales of Symphonia. And people get mad at me when I say that, but I mean, listen, I'm an old school Tales fan. I imported Tales of Phantasia, the first one in the series, and then I played the ones on the PS1, the GameCube, the PS2, and the PS3. And the quality of that series, I mean, graphically it's gotten better, but giving you a huge open world to explore and tons of side quests and lots of secrets to discover. Tales of Xillia is a series of maps. No huge overworld, just going from map to map to map to map. I'm like, really?
Wait a minute here.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna have to interject a little bit.
Go ahead, go ahead.
A lot of people who obviously don't know me just see me as a Nintendo guy, but I kid you guys not, I was one of the biggest Xbox 360 fans. I love the Xbox 360 way more than the Wii ever. So let me just say this right now: Tales of Vesperia was pretty freaking good.
Yeah, it was good.
Did you play
Vesperia
Vesperia on the
was good.
360? Because I know you're not an
Vesperia-
Xbox guy.
I didn't get it for the Xbox 360. I played it for the Xbox 360, and the
Okay.
Vesperia was the one. It was the Xbox 360's Symphonia. It was the Xbox 360.
Oh, yeah.
It was really good. But I mean, you're talking out of a series of 1, 2, 3, like let's say 20 games. Two Hallmark games that are really good within a generation of each other. The other games are like quality going downhill, and I don't understand that because they've had the same guy working on the same system.
Well, wait a
on the
minute.
same
What about
game.
from what I've heard? The PS3 Tales of Symphonia game or the Tales games aren't horrible. I know the Wii one was kind of trash. I played that one. I didn't like it at all.
Grace's F.
There was another one.
Or Dawn. The Symphonia 2, the sequel was garbage.
Yeah, that was kind of
Grace's
garbage.
F, which came out in Japan and sold relatively well, which when it finally came to the U.S., they put on the PS3 for some reason, even though it was a Wii title.
The Wii version was trash. It was trash.
Grace's F.
Grace's F was trash
Grace's
on
F
the Wii.
Grace's F's storyline was garbage. It had one of the best battle systems in the Tales series. Because it wasn't like based on like how much TP you had. Like all the arts chained together. If you comboed together like you were playing a fighting game, which was actually kind of different from other Tales games that I've played, because the rest of the other ones, it's like, okay, you press down and A, or down and B, up and special, down and special, forward and special, back and special, or you can go into expert mode and enter in button fighting combinations, do special attacks faster than just pressing buttons. Which, I mean, the quality. I mean, like, here's the thing: you play a Tales game because you want something that's different from the active time battle that used to be Final Fantasy. You want to have a more action-oriented style of combat, and you still get a big, huge world to explore, and an interesting storyline. Like, I played Tales of the Abyss. I hated the main character, Luke von Faber. Oh God, I hate that guy. It's just the series is just not what it should be.
Okay.
I
mean, okay.
I think that's a problem with a lot of these developers is when, especially games that have been out a longer period of time, they just don't know what to do. They run out of ideas, and I think that's why, even though Nintendo doesn't always get credit, they seem to revitalize their series, like the 3D Mario games. They're so different each time. They find a way to make them fresh but make them familiar, and I think that's a hard quality for other people. It's a very special quality to be able to do that and take a familiar franchise and add something fresh. And I think the problem with a lot of these developers and publishers or whatever is these games, they try to keep making them, but they don't know what to do with them, and that's kind of the problem we're seeing with, now the thing is just to release them annually because the people are familiar with this game. Assassin's Creed, oh, I know Assassin's Creed, I'll buy that, but they don't find any way to really make each game stand out from the other one, and I think that's a problem a lot of the developers have is these games, they just keep making them and they don't know what to do to make them stand out or make them special from the ones
that
earlier.
plays me.
I'd say the problem is that they're making them too often. If they give them some time, separate them, they can make the games longer. They can give them a longer time out in the market to generate sales. They can have much longer legs, and it would be more interesting to people.
Yeah.
Because I mean, go ahead. I was just gonna say, I took 2 years off between Assassin's Creed 2. I played it late. I got it for cheap, and then I tried Assassin's Creed 4 2 years later, and it felt so similar to me that I got about 6-7 hours in, and I haven't touched it since. And it's like, if that game had been 5 years since the last one, I think it would have. They wouldn't have had all that money from all the ones in between. But for me personally, it would have felt like I would have been ready to play another one again. And they're not giving people enough time to be ready. They're just. It's the Call of Duty syndrome.
It's a print and press game now.
But here's the problem, though, guys. We shouldn't be blaming them. We should be blaming the gamers out there.
Stop buying them.
I do.
Stop buying them. Like I said in my video, be an elite gamer.
Have higher standards.
Stop accepting garbage.
They're not going to, because the thing about it is, while we're big, huge gaming enthusiasts, most people are not in that same realm. And you know what? Assassin's Creed, I like Assassin's Creed. Sure, I'll go out and buy it each year. Why not? Because that's all they play. They don't play a lot of games every year, and that's their one time, other than Madden and other than COD, to play a game that's not a shooting or sports. That's their every man's game is Assassin's Creed. So I just say, hey, let them do that. If they want to play those games, let them.
I don't blame them for keep doing it because people keep buying it.
I understand they're making money on it.
That's short-term thinking. That's short-term thinking. But they're making money now.
The thing is, there is no way a game that's made every year. There's no way they're getting the feedback they're getting from people who played Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag and putting it into the new ones they're making this year. There's no way.
The new one's been being made for the last 3 years. I mean,
there's no way.
It was already in production.
Yeah, there's no way and that's why each game is always Assassin's Creed.
But 10 million people bought
Call of Duty.
People keep buying it. I mean, and I also contributed to the, kind of more of the falling of the Japanese, games industry, not as much as it used to be. I actually blame Square Enix, if you want me to be. I just kind of blame them because they used to have a foothold, as far as Japanese games and stuff like that. And when they started falling off, when everybody started leaving, and they started falling off, and nobody really picked up, from where Square Enix left off from. Nobody was the giant of the Japanese industry to bring games over that everybody bought here in America. Nobody did it. And
the only one who does is Nintendo, but they don't put games out like that.
I meant for the Xbox and
PlayStation
guys. Yeah, that's what I meant. I meant there was nobody.
There's
You
no
know.
one who prints games that quickly except for a lot of Western, like Activision with their Call of Duty franchise. And apparently now EA with Battlefield,
Oh
Which
God,
is
the only company that'll
online
put
should be an
out a sequel
expansion.
to a game when the first one's still broken. I've never seen that type of dedication to screwing over the fans before, but
Well, what it is they had an idea of what is it, like a cops and robbers type thing,
Yeah,
and they're
but
like, well, if we do a new IP, people, the general casual gamers won't buy it, but if we slap a Battlefield name on it, I mean that's guaranteed 4 or 5
But
million.
honestly, they're just using the exact same engine and just making. They're taking the exact same engine, no improvements, just throwing it out there with a new cover.
Actually downgrades. I mean, I hate to reference Digital Foundry, but man, they were playing that game, and I know it's the beta, but oh my god, 20 to 30
I'm
frames.
sorry, but they're using an already made engine, so it shouldn't be
Yeah,
that bad.
I'm gonna give them props for something though. The beta's coming out 5 months before the game instead of 2 weeks. That's an improvement.
I guess that's
That's not a beta,
I
then.
guess
That's an alpha.
I guess that's a plus, but all I'm gonna say is this. I don't want to hear anyone complaining about this game being a glitchy piece of garbage. If anyone makes a video, I played this game and look, the last game was a glitchy piece of garbage. This game's built on the same engine. I better not hear anyone saying, "Oh, it was a glitchy piece of garbage." Look, you knew what you were getting when you came into the door.
I was like, there's no way you could have thought that was going to be better.
And that's why I don't complain. That's why I don't complain about those games as much and like broken like in my videos and stuff. I don't really do it, man, because I don't even play those games. I don't even care about them. I mean,
you knew what you were getting when you walked in the door. Okay,
Yeah,
Honestly,
the American games industry is pretty much it's pretty much dead, to be honest.
Something like Grand Theft Auto, where they launch the main game and all of a sudden they don't launch the multiplayer until like a month later.
Because it was a broken piece of garbage.
Because if it was launched right along with the main game, then all of their scores would have been
in the 70s and 60s. Yes.
They would have been horribly bad.
People let them get away with it. That's the worst part. People let Rockstar get away with it.
But you have to let them get away with it. And you know what? I don't mind. You know why I don't mind? Because all the people that buy that stuff that don't mind. Grand Theft Auto, in my opinion, it's trash. I don't like it. But, I don't think it's that great of a game, but people buy it. So.
But I will say this much about GTA. I will say this much about GTA. As far as a single-player experience goes, it's still a and here's why when I hear Bethesda talk about when I hear people talk about how Bethesda makes these huge gaming worlds. Look, San Andreas on the PS2, GTA 4, GTA 5. These are huge, very detailed worlds, and I still don't have the level of glitchiness as I've had from Bethesda games. So
Yeah,
fans fix Bethesda games on PC.
Yeah.
And the one thing about Grand Theft Auto, at least it's not right now an annual series. They do.
I don't think they'll ever make it annual because they did.
Of course, they are re-releasing the same game.
Yeah, they are re-releasing the same game. And I'll say this about, Grand Theft Auto, like I said, it's just not my style. I think a lot of people like it. I think that's cool, but I don't know. To me, like the controls in the gameplay are just
garbage.
Crap.
They're garbage.
It's a jack of all trades, master of nothing. Master of nothing. So that's just my opinion on that.
The only thing that I'll say that I like about GTA is it's a world you can get lost in. Like I remember playing GTA San Andreas, and I wouldn't even I would do all of these. No, I don't mean like that. I would
I'm just saying I don't want to get.
Francis does not want to be a baddie.
What I'm saying is that it would be fun. It was fun just to get in the airplane, turn on the radio, and fly around.
I'll take Bethesda's Fallout or Skyrim over GTA any day. I will take those over GTA any day.
Although I will say this much: dressing up like a hipster in Fallout New Vegas and going around with a plasma rifle, just shooting people in the face, like anyone messing with me. While playing Blue Moon on the radio.
We're about to have a throwdown here, Mr. Red Fox. Fallout New Vegas sucks.
Okay, guys. Let me put it this way. Fallout New Vegas was built on the Fallout 3 engine, which meant it was a glitchy piece of garbage too. But I will say this much about Obsidian when they made Fallout New Vegas. At least they didn't have to patch in a better ending, unlike Fallout 3.
Literally, I think that Fallout New Vegas it started with a piece of poop. It just started with a piece of doo-doo. That's how they started that game. It is garbage. I cannot stand, and I tried so hard. That game crashed on me 8 times in a row. I kid you not.
What were you playing it on?
My Xbox 360. It crashed 8 times in a row.
Oh, God. Now, see, that's the thing. Like, I played Fallout 3, the Ultimate Edition, on my, I played it on my PS3 and on my PC. My gaming PC, it crashed like 3 times, even after I put in the patches that everyone, that Bethesda automatically put in to make it playable. And on my PS3, it crashed like 6 times. New Vegas crashed only like 4 times on my PS3.
That sounds like a major improvement.
For Bethesda, that's like oh my God.
Obsidian has the worst. These guys just do not know how to. They're coding, man. I mean,
yeah.
I don't play games that crash. You guys play a lot of RPGs. I don't have games that crash because I don't play RPGs. So
I play RPGs. I'm an RPG lover.
Not all RPGs crash though.
Yeah, it's just Bethesda. It's just
I honestly,
Xenoblade Chronicles never crashed on me. I mean, Last Story never crashed on me. Yeah,
Last Story, Xenoblade,
Pandora's Tower.
Yeah,
Pandora's Tower. Yeah.
So
the only games that have crashed on my system for Bethesda. So.
Yeah, just Bethesda. But I mean, I don't know what it is about them and their quality control, although I suspect it's that they're told, okay, we're going to ship this game in September. It's got to be ready to go in September. And they're like, well, the game's not ready yet. Well, we'll fix it post-patch, post-launch with a patch.
Yeah. That's a big issue with a lot of games.
The only thing that, speaking to Francis, the only thing that I don't like about Fallout 3 is that your sense of progression and becoming more powerful is interrupted to me. Like, because basically you can max out your level and the enemies, you're still feeling like every single, and I'm not saying that like every single enemy, like normal enemy, is like a life or death struggle. The final boss is a joke. Whereas, like, I feel like in New Vegas that your character is getting more powerful, and of course you run into my most hated enemy of all time, those death claws. Oh, God, I hate death claws. Oh, God, I hate those things. I hear them, because I play with headphones, like on all of those types of games. Hearing those things coming after you in Fallout is like, oh, God, no. Jesus, no.
Well, I mean, look, I don't think New Vegas, I just think that those Obsidian, they just can't make, I mean, how are you going to mess with the Xbox 360 version? You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you going to make it crash as much as it does? Like, and that's just my main issue. I don't doubt the game. And I'm a completionist. Like, that was back when I was super into achievements.
Yeah.
You know? And the achievements in Fallout New Vegas are some of the worst, most horrible,
they are
evil achievements ever. Like, I can't forgive them for what they make you suck to get achievements. It's like, oh, well, kill yourself and then use stem packs. You know, like, it's like, continue hurting yourself. Like, you have to get that achievement, you have to purposely hurt yourself.
I have never, well, I mean, I think that, I think for me, New Vegas, I'm not like an achievement person.
See, that's why you liked it.
No, actually, I liked it because I thought that the perk system was like made a little bit more sense. Like, they had a perk in New Vegas called Jury Rig. So if your repair was high enough, you no longer had to find the exact same type of gun to repair your favorite gun. It's like, this is a rifle, that's a rifle. Okay, jury rig it. And that made the game so much easier for you to get through without you having to go on a scavenger hunt to find the exact, like, let's say you found a rare item like a special big boy mini nuclear launcher. You didn't have to go and find another one or a more generic version in order to repair it. You just had to find something generally the same. And I thought that was, I mean, there were little things that they added to New Vegas compared to what was in the original Fallout that was that I appreciated. I won't say it was the best. Although I will say this much, I do like about Bethesda games is that you really get to make your own story. Like, in the original Fallout, like I shot the dude before he could shoot the sheriff in the beginning of the game. So like, you're not gonna shoot that guy. That guy's got a kid.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I agree with you there. There was some good stuff in there, but I think everybody's kind of tired of us going back and forth.
Yes,
honestly,
on these
So,
old.
does anyone
I
have a
don't want to
final?
talk about these games anymore. Personally.
Okay then, is there any last final topic before
I
we
have a huge topic I was saving, but we kind of
Okay,
got
go
way
for
off
it.
track.
go for it?
The Ubisoft saying they're waiting for the Wii U install base to
Oh,
get bigger.
let me jump in on
They're
this.
releasing that game.
Go ahead.
Hey, let's let what's the guy that's been here? What's his name?
Dark 100.
Yeah, let's let him talk. Everybody's been talking about him.
Let him go ahead first, and then I'll jump in.
Get into some of this conversations, but I just think it's stupid for them to hold on a game to wait for the install base to go up when they're putting games on things where the install base is inert. It's not going anywhere, like say the Vita, and and putting stuff like Kinect games on a Kinectless Xbox One. I mean,
That's it right there.
That's what I'm thinking.
Here's what
I'll say from G.
Here's what I think. If they're worried about an install base, 3DS has what 43 plus million. They have 21 games on the 3DS, and most of them are console ports.
Yeah, I had the 3DS written down right next to that.
Most of them are console ports from older generations or very generic games. So if they're really, really interested in an install base, why not make a decent game for the 3DS that's fresh that people might actually be interested in?
Exactly.
Because it's Ubisoft, baby. They want to be the French EA.
Well, I know Ubisoft, they don't really want to make games specialized for certain platforms. They'll always make a game to where it's on multiple systems, and with the 3DS, you kind of have to make it to where it's like just for the 3DS. So that's the reason why they're not supporting it. But the problem that I have, it's like you have such an opportunity. You can create, why don't you put some creative forces with so much less resources? You can create a game on the 3DS that's awesome. Maybe you create a new IP that's in the vein of a Watch Dogs, or just their own 3DS, its own identity. What if 3DS got a game like Destiny, its own version, with stylized graphics? Maybe
Like
you don't fully play
like the indie developer is making that game Ironfall. That's kind of like
Yes.
Gears.
Yeah.
Yes, but why don't you put? Of course, they have more resources and stuff like that. And that's funny because some of those guys used to work at Ubisoft. One of those guys used to work at was actually working on Watch Dogs at one point.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but it would be really cool if they actually put some resources into making an original game, and you don't have to spend the millions upon millions of dollars it takes. I mean, it might be $1 million or so, but you could make your money. In my opinion, I feel that they could make their money back.
They could make their money back
and then some.
20. They could make 20-fold back their money if they actually put effort into a unique 3DS game.
If all the developers did, I just want to do one more thing before I pass on. Like, if all the developers actually put some effort into the 3DS, if all of them did, let's just say Bungie and let's just say all of the people decided, hey, we're going to really support the 3DS like Nintendo does with their games, the 3DS would be by far, it would even have more sales than it is right now, but they don't want the 3DS. They obviously don't like the tech, and they don't want the 3DS to be successful. Yep. They don't care about it,
But yet they'll support that 8-point-something million install base for the Vita.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing.
They're not really supporting the Vita either, though. I mean, the Vita doesn't
well,
get
some are.
Well, Randy Pitchford, for his credit, and Ed Boon, they put Ultimate Mortal Kombat 9 on the Vita, and that flopped harder than a fat kid jumping into a pool, and Borderlands 2, which I believe also flopped harder than a fat kid jumping into a pool.
It boosted PS Vita sales a little bit. People went out and got that bundle because you get the game, a memory card, for $200. So
that's God,
not worth it to me.
That is because like I got my Mario Kart and Luigi. I got my Mario and Luigi bundle for 182, 182, and I got a 16 gigabyte memory card with that, and a game that is not an inferior port of a console game.
You got the guys who probably have PS4, PS3. They have their PS Plus, and then you get a bunch of games for the Vita.
Yeah.
See,
I want to
in
chime
that
in
in
on.
that sense, it would be good, but for somebody who doesn't have all that, it's not really.
It's
worth it.
like,
Yeah.
I
Everybody who's
sold
buying the
my
Vita right now is like PS Plus. If you don't
yeah,
buy PS Plus, then yeah, the Vita
is not a deal for you.
yeah, it's not as good.
Yeah,
But you got to buy PS Plus.
yeah.
So, okay, let me get in here real quick. The problem I had with that comment about the install base is two things. One, he should have specified it's not the install base, the 6 million that's the problem. It's the percentage of Nintendo console owners that buy their types of games. If you look at the Wii, like what was it, the Rabbids games and stuff, they might hit 1-2 million, but you're talking an install base at the time 40-50 million, so they know that the percentage of people that will buy their games small. I wish he would have just specified it more like that, because if you look
Yeah,
at
if he would have said attach rate, it would be more understandable. But still, I
yeah,
really
still it
wouldn't
was
care
crap.
much.
Then he said if the Wii U was at the right price, and he's
It's the
suggesting
cheapest of the three,
And
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 if
Nintendo
people
just
are
got it
really
profitable.
if people are really worried about getting a Wii U for cheaper and they want it with brand new like serviceability,
Refurbished.
get the refurbished one from Nintendo for $200
$200.
that comes with
Yep.
Nintendo Link.
Yep.
yeah, they had at a store by me. It's it's like a Walmart, but it's only in the like Michigan, Ohio, Indiana area, and they don't do a lot of game sales. So they've had PS4 since February. They had a Nintendo Land Wii U. They finally put it at 250. It's been in that since the Wind Waker bundle came out. It's been there since before then. They finally dropped it to 250, and it was gone the next day. And another thing, people could pick up the white. There's still some white ones out there. You get an external hard drive, but the fact that he's suggesting that the Wii U is not worth it's not the value, like worth the $300. You're getting a game, either Wind Waker, New Super Mario Brothers, or Mario Kart. The fact that he's somehow suggesting Nintendo needs to drop the price.
Heck, no. I guess he also forgets the bundle that comes with the game Zombie U.
Yeah.
Game they put out.
And then the Mario Kart comes with that extra game. So this it seems like I don't know if he was the CEO or what this guy was.
No, that was the CEO. That was Yves Guillemot.
He's the guy that delayed Rayman Legends. The development team was mad. They didn't want it to be delayed. He was the guy that pushed for the Watch Dogs to be shown way early 2 years ago, from according to Francis. The CEO made that call. And now he's saying stuff like this and ignoring, like you said, the 3DS install base, ignoring that the Xbox One is sitting at just over 4 million, and just completely ignoring all that. Basically, it seems like he's got something against Nintendo because
I think that him and Nintendo had some personal problems, and he's venting it out through gaming media.
I think so.
Here's all I'm going to say about Ubisoft, because I'm not even going to bring in the 3DS for an install base. All I'm going to use is just consoles. Okay, him making games for the PS4, I can understand. Him making games for the Connect games for the Xbox One, even though Microsoft just basically, they wouldn't come right out and say it. The Connect is a failure. They dropped it. Okay, they're making Connect games. So let me get this straight. Someone is going to buy an Xbox One, a $399 Xbox One. Maybe comes with one game. Because I know there might be some bundles where it might come with a game, or they're going to speak even if it doesn't come with a game. $400 plus they're going to buy a $60 game. Plus someone's going to actually buy a Ubisoft Connect game and buy a Connect camera to go with that. Who does that?
Yeah, it's just.
They're making games.
I don't understand why he would even tell us. We didn't really touch upon the unfinished game, what that might be, and why.
He shouldn't even brought it up, honestly.
It was almost like an ultimatum. Like, you guys.
This is like saying, you guys buy our stuff, or we're not going to put this game out. Oh, like, okay, go ahead and put it out on another console that you didn't directly develop it for, and see how bad it comes out.
Yeah. He's like, hey, we're going to hold on to this because, you haven't been buying our games. I'm like, well, if you didn't delay Rayman Legends, if you didn't give us the same Assassin's Creed game, just with more ships, And you're giving us, you delayed Watch Dogs and put out all the other versions, which by the time Watch Dogs comes out for the Wii U, it's going to be really cheap on the other consoles, and they're probably going to charge us full price on the Wii U.
They have no choice but to put that game out at $30 for the Wii U, or it's not going to sell well.
They're doing absolutely everything in their power to sabotage. I mean, they're doing EA stuff right now.
I
And
I would love to find out later on what the true reasoning behind the Watch Dogs, if it had to do with Mario Kart 8, or if it, like they said a year ago that game was running, they got it up and running on the Wii U, and it was comparable to, it was in between the 360 and the PS4 version graphically, and then when they delayed it, he's like, well, we had a problem, we couldn't get it up and running on the Wii U, but the team we gave it to, it took them like a couple days, and they had it up and running. First it was running, and it was in between graphically, then all of a sudden it wasn't. It just
probably a deal. They probably wanted a deal for some money for some exclusive content, and Nintendo wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
I just don't think, like, how is that game? It has no chance of selling over 50,000 copies. I would think that would probably be top high side.
If they sweeten the deal. If they sweeten the pot.
If it was $40 new,
they should bundle it with like Assassin's Creed 4, and you just get the Assassin's Creed 4 for free or something like that.
Yeah. Get either that free download.
Either that, or they add a lot of extra unique features like they did with the PlayStation, but Sony paid for that, and I don't think Nintendo, like, if you kick sand in Nintendo's face, I don't think they're going to hand over a fat check saying we want exclusive content.
No. They're not going to pay. Nintendo's not going to pay for exclusive content for a multi-plat game. They're not. No, they're just not going to do it.
They're not going to do it. So
what Nintendo would be willing to do is pay for an exclusive game that is only coming to them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, let me pose this question to you guys. That's something I've been thinking about. We're talking about Grand Theft Auto 5 coming to the PS4, Xbox One, and PC now. They made Rockstar. Who publishes that? Is that 2K, or is Rockstar publish it themselves?
I think Rockstar. Take Two. No, it's Take Two.
Take Two.
Take Two. Okay.
They made what, $2 billion already off of the 360 and PS3 version.
Yep.
Billions.
The only smart move in that bringing it to the next iteration of that exact same game is the PC move.
Yeah.
They're going to sell a lot on PS4 and Xbox. I think there are a lot of people are going to make the jump.
If they do upgrades, then yeah, I can see it happening a lot better. But I don't see the point if they won't do that.
It does. It looks better for sure.
But it's still the exact same game.
There's going to be some exclusive content on PS4 probably,
and some refinements. But the question I have is, they've already made billions of dollars on that game. So what would it take for them to put a Wii U version out there?
They're not. I
think there's. If I remember correctly, there is a burnt bridge between Rockstar North and Nintendo that has yet to been mended. Yeah. So that's not going to happen.
I know, but I'm thinking of them. It's not about them losing money, but why wouldn't they want their game in the hands of the fans, even if they're mad at Nintendo? Why not just? There might be a million people who own a Wii U who would buy that game, and they'd probably make a little bit of money.
To them, it's not worth the effort. With the type of games that Nintendo releases, to them, they just don't think it's worth. I just personally think they just don't think it's worth the effort to do it. Even though it might be worth the effort, they just don't think it is.
But they've already made enough. They've already just
doesn't matter. They don't care about Nintendo. It's like why should I care about Nintendo or their fans? I don't. They just don't care about them. If you don't care about something, you're just not going to do it.
Now, me personally, I mean, I could care less about GTA 5 on the Wii U. I mean, it would be nice, but I probably wouldn't get it until it was dirt cheap anyway. But if they released a Bully 2 on the Wii U,
dude, that's why I've been.
Because that was Rockstar Vancouver did that, not Rockstar.
Another Bully game.
I would love another Bully. I don't even need Jimmy Hopkins as the main character. I just want to go around in a prep school, throwing people into lockers and giving them swirlies.
That came out.
I want to be able to throw a rock at a prefect.
Yeah, beat up a prefect if I'm lucky, because those dudes are like uber powerful. Because I mean, Bully was rated T for teen, but it was like, here's the thing, GTA after GTA San Andreas, they went way too serious with their games. Like GTA 4 was not fun. It didn't have those zany missions that made GTA, like chasing down some dude on a golf cart. That's kind of fun, but Bully had all of that humor in spades, and I would love to play that again. And think about all the cool stuff you could do in an open world sandbox style game like that with the gamepad.
I just don't understand. They could have, like, Red Dead Redemption. What else?
That game's kind of old though. That game,
I know.
Yeah,
but
Red
what I'm
Dead came out
saying
in
is,
2010.
I think
they're
he
never
means
gonna
just
have
something
it.
in a similar vein.
If they never put it out there, then they're not going to build an install base, and it would be something for the future. Like maybe GTA 5 wouldn't sell amazing and it wouldn't make them a ton of money, but then if GTA 6 comes out, you got some people that you could build upon the install base. You know, it just seems weird to me that they just wouldn't want it in every possible.
The industry has changed. Obviously, Microsoft and Sony control a lot with these third parties, and they just don't feel that they need to do anything for them. It just feels that it's not worth the effort. They don't need to. It's not going to sell big, so it's not coming. And to be honest, good riddance. Good riddance. You know why? Because this is going to push Nintendo. Nintendo needs to realize it doesn't matter what they do. They need to make their games.
Exactly.
Their games out
Well,
this is going to push Nintendo to make more games. So I'm fine with it. If they want to abandon Nintendo, that's fine. You want those games? Buy a PS4 or Xbox One.
Exactly.
I'm not going to sit here and cry a river over Rockstar and all that crap. I mean,
I wouldn't.
And that's what I like about what Nintendo's been doing. It's like they're like, oh, so you're not going to give us a decent online experience for a multiplayer shooter? F you, we'll make our own.
Yeah, and Splatoon was born.
Splatoon, bitches, you know?
Exactly. Hey, you don't want to give us some third-party games? Okay, we got Bayonetta, we got Devil's Third, we got more coming. You know
we'll take care of ourselves. We don't need you. And you know what? This is what Nintendo had back in the GameCube era. This is what they had back in the N64 era. And you know what? I'm glad they're getting that swagger back about it. You know,
We had that during like the NES era too.
Yeah, the NES. Like, look, you're not gonna make a sports game. F you, we'll make our own.
It's funny. I was just watching game trailers. Like I saw a video link somewhere. I think on Google Plus. Jeff Kingley or whatever. He was doing it with like it was like a panel of 4 people total.
Bonus round.
And they were talking. Yeah, bonus round. They were talking about Nintendo, and they said that when Nintendo's back's against the wall, they basically just cater to their fans, and they do everything they can to please their fans. They put out the best games they can and the best franchises.
And with that, they draw in more people.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. The thing that I didn't like about what they said though is they think that it's just a 2-year plan till the next hardware comes out.
Oh no, this is until this console is dead. What they're doing.
Nintendo is not Nintendo. Look, I've been a Nintendo fan a long time. I own a lot of other consoles. I own more non-Nintendo consoles than Nintendo consoles. But I'll tell you right now, Nintendo is at their best when their back is against the wall and people count them out. I don't know why people do this, because financially speaking, Nintendo is fine, but like market share wise and what the perception of some people is, Nintendo is going to show people why they built this industry. I mean, you got Microsoft going around saying, oh, which is why I was kind of happy when Microsoft made the blunders they made with the Xbox One, because Microsoft finally got themselves in a problem that money ain't going to get them out of. They actually have to perform. You know, they can't say, oh, we'll just pay someone to make some games. No, your ass is going to have to do something, okay? You know, Sony, Nintendo made their bones. I give them a pass on a lot of stuff because they made their bones. They proved that they got the metal to do a lot of stuff. Sony made their bones with the PS1. Xbox never really made their bones. I think this is going to be their generation with the Xbox One, where they're going to have to do some shit and not just, hey guys, Halo.
Well, you can see it though. Look at the Master Chief Collection. That's pretty awesome. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like when you have your backs against the wall, you get stuff like the Master Chief Collection. Where's the Uncharted Collection for the PS4?
Not happening.
You know what I'm saying? Where's
happening
instead
till
of
the end of
we
that
just, we
console's
just
life.
get one game. We get what is it? We get The Last of Us remastered for full price. Where's the Uncharted Collection for $60? Where's Sony's? Why don't they don't have to care about that?
They do so
They
many
want to just
collections,
around top.
Until the end of the generation when Sony is on its back at that point.
You know, so that's the thing. That's why I don't like the fact that I like the fact that Sony's selling so well because it's pushing Microsoft and it's pushing Nintendo, but I just don't like the fact that it's selling so well to the point to where they don't need to even. I mean, look at like Little Big Planet. I'm going to call it Little Big Planet PS3 version ported to the PS4 because that's a PS3. That's a PS3 game.
That's what I thought when I watched that.
I saw it in person. That's a PS3 game ported to the PS4.
Yeah,
and they're
I mean,
releasing
it's
that
going to be
this
on
fall.
both anyway.
Didn't they give you a
but they
dirty
won't talk
look when
about
you
it.
asked about it, Francis?
They did. They gave me.
I wasn't even there. I could tell.
Yeah, I'll tell you guys. I mean, I actually have a hands-on preview. I have a preview and footage that I'll be going up on my Player Essence gaming channel when I'm done with all my PE Nintendo stuff. I've got videos where I took footage of, like, I played Sunset Overdrive and a lot of those games.
Please tell me that game was as fun as it looks.
It's fun. It's
Okay,
fun.
good.
I have a question.
Yeah,
Does
go ahead.
Little Big Planet 3 still have the floaty as hell physics?
Yes, it does. I
It
can tell
does.
you that just from the
It-
video.
Oh,
but
God.
They have different characters. Really, Little Big Planet 3 plays like a jumbled mess of like New Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario 3D World. It's too specialized. It's too like, okay, you have this character that can do this. Okay, you have to grab this character. It just creates dysfunction when you're playing. People are waiting for things to happen. Okay, let's wait for the character who flies to grab this guy. Let's wait for the character who does this to do this. It's too dysfunctional.
So they added another hook instead of trying to build a really good physics engine.
They didn't add like Media
Because in
Molecule.
the second one they had the hook shot.
Yeah, I mean, well, Media Molecule didn't make this game, and you can tell. There's not the innovation. They just took something that was popular in other genres and stuff and just said, okay, well, let's just add it to Little Big Planet 2.
Let's just
I mean,
That's the question.
Yeah.
You've seen that game in person. I'm sure you've seen another game in person. If they brought people in and didn't tell them, okay, this is on this system, this is on this system, Little Big Planet 3 on the PS4 next to Yoshi's Woolly World, what game do you think people would think was on the more powerful system?
I personally think they would think it was on the same system. That's what I think. I mean, if you told them they were both on the Wii U, they'd be like, oh, okay, they're both on the Wii U. If you told them they're both on the PS4, they'd be like, okay, I guess.
I would
thought-
PS4.
I would think Woolly World. Like when I saw the trailer for Rainbow Curse, and like I first saw it, I'm like, oh, it's a sequel to Canvas Curse, and then I saw the graphics with the claymation. I was like, oh shit.
That was like one of my...
You gotta be kidding me with this. And
Those
I
are
mean
the
that in a
top.
good way. I mean that in a good way.
Yeah, like
The good thing about Little Big Planet is that it's like smooth 60 frames per second. That's the good thing with 4 characters, but it's just not like you look at some of the other games Sony was doing on the PS4. You look at I got to see Bloodborne, I got to see The Order, I got to see some of the other games, even like Destiny. You look at those games and then you look at Little Big Planet, and even for a game that has a different art style, even like Yoshi, you look at Yoshi and you compare it to Little Big Planet, you're like, wow, they're not really using that PS4, and that's why I think they did, and they were getting real sketchy with me when I wanted to talk about the PS3 version. So,
Oh god.
Well,
Oh,
it's
God.
probably because the PS4 and the PS3 version are exactly the same.
they're very similar, probably. They're gonna
PS3
use
No,
version is probably
not
30
very
frames
similar.
per second, and the
Yeah.
PS4 version is 60 probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably about the only difference. Is the PS3 version is at a lower resolution and slower frame rate, but
Yeah.
other than that, it's the exact same game.
Yeah, well, visually, I think it's going to be very similar. I just think that they bumped up the resolution so it's sharper, and they bumped up the frame rate. But the gameplay, to me, it's not a Media Molecule game. It's not the innovation that, I don't know if any of you guys played Tearaway on the PS Vita.
no.
Yeah, I played it.
Yeah, I played that. A lot of innovation in that game. It's on the Vita. That's the only issue.
That's its only flaw.
That's
I mean,
messed up.
I'm just
That's the
saying.
only flaw.
Well, nobody's playing it. It's on the Vita. That's just the only
That's
problem.
wrong. Man. You know that was wrong, Francis. That was wrong.
No, not that there's anything wrong with the Vita, but the people who like the Vita or people who play Vita, I'm not sure if they're looking for that type of game. That's all I'm trying to say.
I know, but it's the way
here's
you
the thing,
said
okay?
it, man.
It's kind of like this. It's like I own a Game Gear, right? There are a few really good games on the Game Gear, but the only problem is that the game's on the Game Gear. You know, it's like no one. I mean, people were playing Game Boy Color, so it's like
I mean, nobody
audience isn't there. You know.
Nobody
many
bought the,
AA
nobody
batteries
bought
that
the
take?
Nobody bought Tearaway on Vita. I mean, nobody bought it. Great game. Nobody bought it.
No, but the thing that makes me laugh about the Vita is that I remember when the Vita was
Well, let's
coming
not
out.
get on the Vita. Let's just
No.
move on. Let's move on.
Let's not bash it because
Yeah, let's move on.
to
Let's
be
not get on the
honest,
Vita.
it is a good piece
Okay,
of tech.
anyone have any other topics?
I think
I didn't come prepared with one,
I think
unfortunately.
Can I do one more?
yeah.
Go ahead.
I want to get everybody's opinion as far as a game of show at E3. Out of anything, you guys can just elaborate on a game that you feel, or two games that you feel are.
Okay.
Splatoon. Splatoon and Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Oh,
Mine's
Great picks.
probably gonna be Bayonetta and Devil's Third.
Oh, awesome.
oh.
Good choices.
I'm gonna say the one that made the most impact on me was the Zelda U reveal.
Well,
Yes.
I think that made the most impact on everybody, but
Yeah.
And the thing about Splatoon is I didn't, by the trailer on the digital event, I was like, I don't know. But then I saw the treehouse.
so the
like,
Treehouse
40
and the
minutes,
developers beat the Treehouse team. I was
and
like,
I was like, wow, if they
I
put
need to play this.
other game modes and, and that's solid, like a complete game, not with just that one mode or something, it could be special. But other than that, I hate to say it because I'm a big Batman fan, and I thought Arkham Knight
Oh, Arkham Knight was great.
looked amazing.
Yeah.
It looks great to me, but I didn't like that Batmobile
The
excuse.
Batmobile parts are lame. I will admit
Yeah.
the Batmobile parts are
You want
lame.
to know what? Want to know what the Batmobile does? And it's from another game. It is a crappy game, but it's on the 3DS, and that's the Transformers stealth game.
Mm.
The
Yeah,
cars
that
and
looks like a
Transformers
Transformer.
move exactly like the Batmobile did
Yeah.
in that trailer.
Yeah.
What
I was
about
like, so you told me that you said this cannot be done on the Wii U,
They
but it's been
lied.
done on the 3DS.
They lied. Instead of Rocksteady just saying, "Look, we didn't want to put the game on the Wii U," and people would have said, "Well, that's kind of a dick move, but go ahead."
I'm like,
Um,
okay, I don't like it, but I respect it.
Yeah. I mean, that's your prerogative. I mean, it's not your IP, but I mean, you're working on it. I guess I guess there are two game of shows for me, and I know it's going to sound blasphemous, but the first one was that Zelda U reveal. I'm sorry, that game is just gorgeous. That looks like the type of world you can get lost in. And number two, and I know this is going to sound terrible because I know I hate EA, was Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yeah, you're a
I
big
can
Dragon
respect
Age
that. I
guy.
mean, hey, you giving props to something to a company you
I'm
don't
a
care.
Dragon Age fan. I'm sorry.
I didn't get a
hope they
chance.
redeem themselves.
I didn't get a chance to go to EA's booth, and to be honest, I didn't want to go to EA's
Yeah,
booth.
It was like I didn't want to be over there with people with choppy gameplay.
No, all their sports games, I just didn't feel like going over there. And
Yeah.
like EA is just, I really
Yeah.
despise
Can
EA.
I propose the opposite question? What was the most disappointing game shown at E3? Something you knew about, but then you saw it and you were just like, that's.
Can I hit this?
Go ahead.
I'm going to hit this first because this is something that I found out after the fact. Remember Project Sparks reveal at Microsoft's conference
Yeah.
with Conker? Turns out it's going to be a game maker, kind of like Mario Maker, except you have to pay for extra content like Conker content, Banjo-Kazooie content as DLC packs.
Yeah,
So
that
it's not a
disappointed the
Conker
hell
game.
out of me.
You just pay for shit like skins and stuff to make it look like that. And when I found that out, I was like, you know what?
Nope. That's
Nope.
just
I was like,
the bad
nope.
thing is when I looked at that was one of the games that's like, okay, if this comes out the way I think it's going to, I want this, it might make me get one.
Mhm.
Can I get in on this one? I want to just say my two games of show. I'll be doing a video where I have like my top
Oh, yeah.
5. But my Bayonetta 2 is the
Yeah.
epitome of greatest. It's the greatest action game of all time. You can see when you're playing it. That was the final build. It looks great, plays great. Bayonetta 2 is the game. That is the game. And I would probably say Smash Bros. Between those two games, if you buy Bayonetta 2, which you get Bayonetta 1, and you buy Smash Bros, really you're going to get, I would say, 500 hours or more, possibly even more. Smash Bros on the Wii U is boss. It is just, I mean, I know we all know Smash Bros, so you guys are like,
maybe you guys aren't picking it because you guys just know it's Smash Bros. But when you start playing it, you won't put it. Trust me, you won't put it down. You're going to be glad that Xenoblade Chronicles X didn't come out this year. You're going to be happy because Smash Bros. Is going to eat up your life. It is going to
suck through your. It's going to suck your soul out your body.
I know. I'm taking it at Christmas. I'm just going to be playing that. So you guys, I'm going to need your friend code so we can beat up.
There is no friend code. There is no friend code.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I'm sorry. I was brainwashed by the gaming media.
Well, I mean, the 3DS version is not as good as the Wii U version. That is the beta. That is the warm up. It's just not as good. Plain and simple. The Wii U version is boss.
It's still good though, just not as.
It's good, solid. But the controls hamper it. There's nothing better than playing with the GameCube controller with that game, and then seeing everybody you need a big screen. It's a console experience. You can't play local multiplayer. I mean, you need 4 3DSs, 4 game cartridges, or you play online. Smash Bros. You can get your friends together, play right there. You're going to have the amiibo. I mean, but there's going to be some transfer content, so we're all going to buy the 3DS version, obviously.
Get yourself warmed up for that Wii U.
Listen, as long as they, I know they probably haven't revealed them. As long as they have Mewtwo, I'm happy.
They're not going to have Mewtwo. They're probably not going to.
God, no. Oh,
the problem I have with Smash is I have the original 3DS. I don't have an XL, so if I don't get an XL, I'm not getting it for.
Get it. Well, here's the thing. I would just say, I guess the practice people are already be pretty awesome once the game comes out because you're gonna have Smash Bros. On the 3DS. It is a good fine tuner or warm up, and I played the 3DS version. It's going to be great. I think really the 3DS version is for Japan. I think that's really what that version's for. It's for Japan because that game's going to sell gangbusters in Japan.
It's more or less to get Japanese gamers interested in getting the better version.
Possibly. It fits a lot of different avenues. It can be like, okay, well, if they don't get interested, well, at least they're going to buy the hell out of that one. And if they do get interested, great, they're going to buy both. And Nintendo, they positioned it good because I'm telling you, the Wii version came out first. Nobody's buying that 3DS version. Only people in Japan are. But yet,
I don't know, man. The ability to play Smash Brothers on the run.
I'm telling you right now, you wouldn't buy it.
It will be good. It will be good for you to practice on the go, though, if you can't take your Wii U with you.
It would be, but I really honestly think most people would rather just have the experience, just play it at home. I mean, I don't know how big on the go is here in America. I think a lot of people play their 3DSs at home. I honestly think a lot of people just play their 3DS at home.
It sounds like hand cramps to me.
Well, I played it on the road and at home.
I'll be frank with you. If I was playing it on my original 3DS, it would be hand cramps. But since I got that XL, it's so much. I mean,
I'm gonna be boss.
If you get a chance, if like Black Friday's coming up, if you can get yourself a Black Friday bundle on the cheap, get it.
Well, I mean, either way, I mean, I think the Wii U version is going to be the version to play.
Oh,
I get the 3DS version's awesome. I mean, I think it's a great 3DS game, but the controls and it's just not, and the music. There's only two tracks per stage.
Yeah.
Smash Bros on the Wii U is going to have a ton of tracks. It just looks a lot better. I mean, this is one of the games that runs 1080p 60 frames per second. It is sharp looking. There's no jaggies like on Mario Kart. I mean, not that that's a big deal, but it's just a very sharp, clean looking game. It moves brilliantly. It's that game. It's just that game. It's like Aaron Rodgers. It's like Aaron Rodgers, like Aaron Rodgers in the NFL. It's just that dude, man.
Did you get to the Invitational, or were you not in there?
No, I wasn't able to get to the Invitational because I wasn't able to rent my car in time, actually. So I wasn't able to get there. But I got a full day on Tuesday, and I was able to play it and just play it over and over and over and over and over.
I saw you laying out the beatdowns with Greninja.
I was. Greninja.
I was going to ask, did you get to play any of the pro players?
The Invitational players?
Yeah.
No, I didn't get a chance to play any of the Invitational players.
A couple of them were on the treehouse after.
So, there were quite a few of them that were just walking around playing with people too.
Oh yeah, I mean, I got an interview with Dakota. He's the tall guy with the shaggy hair. You guys remember him?
Yeah, the guy that looks like Shaggy.
Yeah, I got an interview with Dakota, and he was just at different stations. There were so many stations of Smash Bros. They had the main one that was up there where people were playing on the huge screen. They had the Champions platforms where they're on a little leverage thing where you can play. Then they had like just a bunch of the regular platforms where you go, if you win that one, you get your T-shirt. If you win two, you have to win the second match. If you win the second match, you get your T-shirt. And then if you go to the Champions platform, you get a medal. And then if you go to the Champions platform, then you can play on the huge screen and where Reggie was, and stuff like that. So, I mean, just overall, like, everybody was just Smash Bros. Like, the whole time, like, the lines never got smaller. That game and Hyrule Warriors. Those games were just...
it was really packed then.
Oh, yeah, Nintendo's booth was rocking. There were so many people there.
But isn't their booth always packed,
From what I heard, their booth this year was more packed than last year.
Usual.
They got a whole lot of big releases coming up.
Yeah, Splatoon. Splatoon was a really long wait for Splatoon. I mean, if you guys didn't see it, I'll be releasing a booth tour where I just kind of like walk you through the booth. And Splatoon had basically to where you can play it. It was playing LAN. You had people all across the top, and it was a 2-level. It was like a 2-level thing. You get to go up like to the second level and play people 4-on-4, 4-on-4. So I mean, it was just. Yeah, it was just amazing how many people were just like in line to play Splatoon, and like everybody was looking at each other like, where did this game come from? Like, this game is amazing. It was like kind of like the same thing like people were saying like with Sunset Overdrive. Like I mean I had expectations, but when I actually got to play it, I was like, people were looking like, dude, this is fun. There's color. There's like this game is awesome, and like and I
it's not gray and green.
I didn't see that with Sony's booth, honestly. I didn't see that with Sony's booth. People, I mean, they walk people in there, like, you can watch Bloodborne being played, like, a very small chunk, and, like, same thing with the Order. Like, you go in there, you go watch it, and then you come out, everything's gray. I mean, Bloodborne, I mean, it looks cool, but everything's gray. Sunset Overdrive was just really vibrant and cool, and they had, like, a Master Chief Collection. Like, man, that was really cool, like, seeing those games run so much better and cleaner. I think Microsoft and Sony just overall, like, their booths were just fun. I think they just focused on
Microsoft and Nintendo.
Oh, sorry. Microsoft and Nintendo's booth was just fun. So Sony's booth was just like, we've sold 8 million PS4s. Yeah, we're the best. Like
which is stupid.
I told you, greatness is waiting.
Waiting to fall into the dirt.
Waiting. Waiting.
Little Big Planet 3 was just if I had the most disappointing game, it would be Little Big Planet 3, and it would also be Little Big Planet 3, and I don't know, I wasn't a huge fan of like Captain Toads. I mean, but I guess I didn't really expect anything from that game, but I don't know.
That looks awesome to me, but I think
I saw Captain Toad's Adventure. I was like, Nintendo must have had some like bugged my house or had a Nintendo Ninja sitting in my room while I was playing that game. Because when I play the Captain Toads level, I was like, I'd play a game if it was all just this guy doing stuff.
No doubt it's going to be fun. No doubt it's going to be fun.
I think they were just counting on that fun factor.
All of this dude just doing stuff.
I'm sorry, but I don't trust a toad with a pickaxe. Nope, I don't trust it. I would not let him be near me.
I like how Captain Toad is all like he's a coward, but he's gonna get the treasure. I like.
He is a determined coward. That's what we can call him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna speak up for Dark One. I think he was trying to say something a little.
Oh, was he? I didn't hear him.
I'm
sorry.
Since Ubisoft's bringing out Tetris, I was watching the feed for the Treehouse, and when they panned out, I saw like a Tetris booth somewhere within the Nintendo thing. Was there a Tetris thing in the Nintendo booth or what?
No, that wasn't in the Nintendo booth.
Nintendo just behind it.
Yeah, the Tetris thing, that was like in the third party, like in the West Hall. I mean, the one thing about the E3, what you realize, man, your legs get tired, man, if you have to walk between the halls, because like Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo, they all have their main hall where they're all together, and then you have to walk all the way to the other wing to get to everybody else, like all the third parties and stuff, and they all have pretty big booths too. So no, it was over there. It was over there, and that's where all the that's where I saw all of the guys, like popular YouTubers that do other that are like not Nintendo guys. Like I saw Hip Hop and like Angry Joe and all those guys over there. Whereas like on the Nintendo side, I saw Triforce. I saw Pro Jared. I saw I don't know if you guys know a guy named Yoshiler or whatever. He's on YouTube. He has like 60,000 subs, something like that. I saw him. You see all the Nintendo guys over there and guys doing that, and then over there you see all the other guys. So it was cool. And I believe it or not, I'll give you guys a scoop right here. I even ran into it. Believe it or not, there was 3 people in one place at the same time in the same camera, and that was me, Pactor, and Hip Hop Gamer.
Holy crap! Did you have holy water on you?
I'll tell you something right now. I have a video coming, and it's going to be funny with all three of us in it.
But that just shows that the gaming world isn't as big as everybody wants to think it is.
No, it isn't.
And it also shows that it doesn't matter if you love Sony or if you love Nintendo. When you meet these people in person, they're all people, human beings.
Yeah,
like, people say such mean stuff to people over the internet, but when you see them in person, like Hip Hop isn't a bad dude. I don't think Pactor is either. Really, they just say things that some people don't like, and that's why like the keyboard warrior stuff. I can't stand the keyboard warrior stuff that people do online sometimes. But I mean, like Hip Hop's cool. A lot of people say stuff to him, but trust me. Like when you guys see the video, you guys will know what I'm talking about.
I didn't think he was just like some dick in person, but,
well, some people do. I mean, you see the way some people talk to him. You see the way some people like write messages to Hip Hop, or I mean.
Yeah, I've seen it. I mean, if I respond to any of his videos, I usually tell him like, look, I can see where you're coming from, but I don't really agree.
Yeah, I mean,
basically.
I don't like the way some like people, especially when they get to like, oh well, I hope you die and stuff like that.
No, that's just uncalled for.
Just video games, bro. Like, relax.
You don't attack the person. You can attack his stance.
Look at how many people got ticked off about a gun animation being changed in a Call of Duty game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, like, you have no life if you have to threaten the developers because they changed an animation.
Yeah.
They didn't even change a mechanic. They changed an animation.
Well, I have a quick topic I want to bring up.
I gotta go, man. It's late. And,
okay. All right. I think it's time to call it night then, since people are now...
If you guys want to keep talking, that's fine, but I gotta...
No, I mean, if people are heading out, then I guess it's time to call it a night.
Time to wrap it up, boys.
Yeah, time to wrap it up!
I'd love to hear, 2 hours just on Francis's E3 experience.
Yeah, that would be fun.
That would be awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna...
So, people give their sign-offs?
Okay,
right.
Who's first?
I'll go first.
Cool.
I probably didn't talk as much or anything like that. This is like my second podcast and all that, and the fact I'm in a podcast, not watching one, I kind of forgot, but it was nice, and I liked it. So this is Dark 1008.
All right. Well, this is Terminator Juice. This we covered a lot of topics here, and we kind of got off topic. But like I said, I just love talking about video games, and it's fun to poke jabs, like Francis was saying, the keyboard warrior stuff, the fanboy hate and stuff is, that's why I like doing these, because we're all video game fans, even though we all do like Nintendo, but we're just video game fans, and I like having conversations about video games. So this was great, and appreciate Mr. Red Fox for having me on, and any future podcasts, just send me an invite, and if I can make it, I'll be there.
Cool.
Okay, I'll go next in. Andre of GVGINU. This is actually the first time me and Red Fox actually got to do something together where Google didn't screw us over.
Yes, it's amazing.
I was like, wow, the internet didn't want us to work. The internet didn't want us to do anything together before, and this is the first. So I'm like, okay. I actually got in, and there was no glitches. But I got kids that are loud. So just saying, good night to everybody, and hope you guys enjoy. Peace out.
Cool.
All right, I guess I'll be next before Red Fox signs out. This is Francis from PlayerEssence.com, P Nintendo. Look forward to more coverage. I do original content. You guys, a lot of people are telling me that I just steal everything from everybody. Guys, I got plenty of original content.
I saw that.
Stealing if you're referencing.
Yeah, I saw that. That was just...
I got plenty of original content, guys. I got like 200 videos on my P Nintendo channel, like 400 videos on my Player Essence Gaming channel. Plenty of original content. I went to E3 this year. Make sure you check out my content. I got plenty of good stuff. I got Hyrule Warriors previews. I got preview on Smash Bros. I got plenty of footage on a bunch of different games. Splatoon preview, and next week I'll probably start doing like my Xbox and PlayStation previews. So if you're into that, check out my Player Essence Gaming channel. And there's plenty of good stuff upcoming in the week.
Yeah,
so plenty of good.
You can put those out faster if you want to. I don't no complaints if you want to put those videos out. Like,
Yeah, you know what? People have been asking me about the hip hop one, and you know what? I kind of wanted to top it off there. And I kind of wanted to make a statement as far as like the type of people that go to E3 compared to what happens on YouTube. You know, because all of like the drama queens, I'll just say they were a no-show. You know, for all the ones that say that they have thousands of subs, yet they can't come to E3. So. All the people that really care about gaming were at E3. You know, that could go. You know what I'm saying? Like that qualifying could go. They were there. So make sure you check out the previews and the actual real content that I got going up because it's pretty cool. So
sweet.
Sign off.
Okay then, I guess it's my turn. This is Mr. Red Fox, formerly Mr. El Rojo Zorro. I'm glad to have hosted this podcast. We got off the rails, but it was stuff that needed to be talked about. So it's never bad if something needs to be talked about. So now that we've done that, I hope everyone has a good night or day, considering on where you are and what time it is. So have a good time. See ya.
All right, see ya.